And welcome to another podcast, another edition of the Saints Martini with, of course, Irish the Halo and myself, Warren the Saint. How are you today, Irish?
I'm good. Every time you say the Halo, I crack up. I really have to stop.
That's good. One day we should probably explain what all that means. I don't know if we ever have, to be truthful.
Well, I mean, the Saint are the movies that you love. You know, the character
and the books,
and
the character,
and the books.
Yep.
And I mean, as a saint, of course, he would have a halo. So that's what that is.
Yes. Everyone that worked with the Saint was referred to in the books by Leslie Charteris as one of the halos. So
I did not know that.
So Simon, with the exception of Patricia, she was a little bit different, but everyone else would be referred to as a halo. He would call a halo. He'd get on the phone, call a halo for help. So wherever he went in the world, he would have a halo that he could call on to help or something like that. So they were like his gang. If you get
I am part of your gang, Warren. That makes sense.
Yeah. So
right now, I'm the only external member of your gang that other people know about. But yeah, that's cool.
Yes,
I didn't know that. That's actually kind of cool.
Yes, yeah. Well, one day I should give a proper explanation of who Simon Templar or alias Sebastian Toombs actually is.
Do it right now.
Really?
Yeah, do it. Yeah. I'm actually very interested in your description. I don't know that much about him.
Okay, well, before we do, should we explain what cocktail is your choice for cocktails and conversations this week?
I keep being disappointed in myself because I'm not making an actual cocktail, which I should do. But this time, at least I'm not drinking box discount wine. I'm just drinking, again, my favorite, which is a Pinot Grigio, but it is an Italian Pinot Grigio.
Oh, okay.
So, So, I'm doing that. I actually thought that maybe I would start to try to make real cocktails and then maybe post the recipes of them on the website. But I haven't done that yet because I'm lazy and it's hot here and I just can't think about it until the last minute. And then I go, oh yeah, I should have made something special, but that requires me to do an infused, sugar serum of this and just different things.
Oh, making bloody gum syrup and all that sort of crap where you've got to melt down sugar and water and then somehow keep the stuff from... It's easiest to go and buy the stuff, I think, rather than trying to make it yourself.
I don't want to... You know what? I don't mind doing that, though. But you know what the trick is to making a simple syrup, which is what you're speaking of there, is to not stir it. You want to stir it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. You put everything in there and you stir it when it's cold and then you leave it on the stove at a low point and it melts the sugar. But if you stir it, it creates sugar crystals on the rim, which causes it to mess up the actual simple syrup. So I learned this when I worked years and years ago as a waitress and I talked to the bartenders and blah, blah, blah. So that's the trick. You don't stir it. If you stir it, you screw it up. Okay,
interesting.
So you can put it in, stir it when it's cold, turn it on low heat, and let it melt the sugar, and then it's finished. So just don't stir it.
Interesting.
Ta-da.
Interesting. All right, well, my choice. No, it's fascinating. I was about to say I should try that, but I probably won't. But anyway, but here we go.
It sounds like a lot of work, though, right?
My choice, hang on, I don't know if you can hear it. Hang on, here we go. I've got to be careful, I don't want to destroy the computer.
Uh-oh.
Hang on.
Done.
There we go.
Is that champagne or sparkling wine?
Oh, it's sparkling wine. I'll be honest with you. Because I was about to say, because this is the champagne of conversations.
That's because I'm here a bit.
That's exactly right. So, it's actually a Prosecco. It's not actually. It's just a sparkling wine.
I actually like the Prosecco because it's sweet,
So I just thought something a little bit different. Oh, it's not a bad one, actually. That's not a bad one. That's a proper Italian one.
Lovely.
So it's that's all right. That's not too bad. So anyway, cheers, big ears. Cheers, big ears. You don't know what that means. That's an Australian term. Sorry.
I don't, but sláinte. And I also say when I cheer people now when we toast, Nobody knows, like if they say, let's do a toast and nobody knows what to say. Do you know what my go-to is?
What is it?
To bitches and hoes. And everybody does it every single time. That's what's funny to me. It doesn't matter if my grandparents are in the room, okay? If I say to bitches and hoes, everybody raises their glass and says it. So.
Cheers.
I felt powerful.
Cheers Big Ears comes from a movie with Eric Bana. Going back many years ago, there was a very well-known, he's dead now, not Eric Bana, but the person the film is based off, called Chopper. And Chopper is the biography of a very well-known standover criminal who lived in Melbourne and then later in Tasmania called Chopper Reid. And he was how many? The guy probably killed 20, 30 people. But as he said in his defence, he only killed other criminals. He didn't kill, but still, he was a piece of work. And so anyway, so they made him
a real person. Are you telling me that's a real person?
No, this is a real person. Chopper Reid. You look him up on Google. Chopper Reid. Yeah.
I'm gonna look him up.
I think Mark Anthony Reid was his real name. And
okay.
And he wrote in his criminal retirement, for want of a better word, he wrote a whole heap of books and then started doing stand-up comedy tours, and he became really, really fucking popular, even though this guy was an ex-gangland hitman standover merchant. Yeah, it's a very, very weird situation. I think only maybe in a country like Australia could this have ever have happened. And but anyway, in the movie with... one thing that happened, when he was doing one of his many stints in prison, to try to get moved out of what was referred to as, I think it was H Block in Pentridge Prison, which was where the real hard bastards were, he knew he had to get out of there because he was going to be murdered if he stayed in H Block. So he had to make himself look nuts. So to make himself look nuts, he cut his ears off. Now, not his ears, his earlobes. He hacked into he got a friend to do it with a razor blade. Anyway, so he did this. So for the rest of his life, they used to do this joke where they would raise their beers in the pub and they'd say, "Cheers, big ears," because of course he cut his ears off. Right, and in Australia, everything has to be the reverse of what it is. So
it's sarcasm.
So it's just become now. And it was said by Eric Bana in the movie, because Eric Bana played Chopper in the movie, and so he did it. He would sit there in the bar, go, "Cheers, big ears." And, of course, now it's just become standard. Everyone just sits around in bars and goes, "Cheers, big ears."
Okay, well.
So, yeah, but if you look him up, Mark Chopper Reid. He's not the...
just did. Yeah. Mark Brandon Chopper Reid.
Yeah, that's him.
Wikipedia says was an Australian convicted criminal, gang member, and author.
Yes, I know, and author. Wrote about 5
Reid
books,
wrote
I think.
a series of semi-autobiographical crime novels and children's books.
And see, I know. It's fucking amazing, isn't it? I know. It's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, and Warren, the best part about that is that, of course, he was a Scorpio, and we're not the best people sometimes.
When he died, all these people started going into laments about, he'll be so missed. It's like, for fuck's sake, really? Yeah, I know. It's just unbelievable how someone so evil actually became so popular. It's just
and you can see it in these pictures. If you look up just on Google and you just punch in Chopper Reid, and it's READ, okay, not REID like some people might think. It's READ, and if you look it up, the very pictures that pop up, okay, 1 kind of normal, 2 lots of tats and showing he's a big dude, but the third one, holy shit, that dude looks nuts. So
he was absolutely
horrible.
nuts. So, he was not a nice person.
Children's books, Warren. Yeah. Children's books.
There is a fantastic line in the movie, Chopper, and I don't know whether this ever actually happened, but he had, when he was living in Melbourne, his girlfriend at the time was a prostitute, and anyway, and supposedly in the movie, I don't know if this is true or not, but in the movie, they're in the car and they're having a fight because Chopper is saying to the girlfriend, "You're cheating on me, aren't you? You're cheating with me. You're sleeping with other men." And she goes, "For God's sake, Chopper, I'm a prostitute. It's what I do for a living." Uh,
Holy
it's actually,
shit, that's
if you
funny.
ever get a chance, it's a very good film, actually.
I have never heard of it, honestly, so I'm going to
Well,
look it up. You said
well,
Eric Bana
Eric
plays
Banner is
him?
the star. He plays Chopper. The problem with it is that outside Australia, it'd be a weird film because if you don't know who he is, it doesn't make sense. It's a little bit like making a movie about Jesse James when you know nothing about the West's history in the United States. It's
Right.
like how do you do that? It, yeah, it's a. I recommend people watch it. It's a good film. It's very funny, but at the same time, because he actually did have quite an amazing sense of humour, Chopper Reed, believe it or not. But he was still a horrible man. I mean, he was a horrible man, But
Hey, speaking of Australian films, I saw something today on Twitter that made me think about the weirdness of everything that's going on right now in the world. Do you know that Mad Max, the original one, was set in the year 2021?
Oh, was it? I didn't actually realise that.
Yeah, apparently so. And I'm thinking we're not too far off from it.
Well, do you know the movie? Oh, it's a terrible movie, but B-grade movie with Pamela Anderson, Barbed Wire, where America entered a civil war and were turned into two nations that was at war with each other. I don't know if you'd ever... Okay. Do you know what year that was set in?
No, what? This one?
2016, the same year Donald Trump was elected. And in fact, a lot of people said, is Barbed Wire actually a prophecy to Donald Trump?
It could be. I felt like there was a song. I was just listening to a song earlier that I thought the same thing. Now, it was by Lily Allen, fantastic artist. It's called Fuck You. And she had originally written it about Bush. But as I sat today and listened to it, because it's on one of my playlists, and I honestly love that song, I realized that it's actually prophetic because it was really more about Donald Trump than it was about Bush, even though it was written technically about Bush. As I listened to the lyrics, I thought this actually, let me just say to you, I did not like W, okay? I didn't like his father. I didn't like him. I thought he was a piece of shit and all the things that they got us into in the war in Iraq and blah, 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 and all this stuff.
Two wars, two fucking 20-year wars. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. We have a war on terrorism. You know what? Terrorism is an abstract concept, not a country. Yeah. So how the fuck can you have a war on an abstract an abstract concept? But anyway, as I listened to this today, I thought, this would be the perfect song for a bunch of us to record and play as Trump is dragged screaming from the fucking White House, which is what's going to probably have to happen. If we just all stand out in the front and we sing it, and then with little hand motions, and I think it'll be great. So, if anybody wants to join me in that, let me know, because I'm ready to do it.
I mean, I saw some numbers about where the election might end. This was on MSNBC, so I'm not going to take this as gospel because, look, you know how I feel about politics. I think everyone listening knows how I feel about politics. But at the same time, I don't trust MSNBC. I believe they have a huge bias. And
more than Fox? Is that what you're telling me right now?
No, not more than Fox. Fox is a mouthpiece. That's a little bit different. But I trust CNN more than I trust MSNBC.
I used to feel that way, Warren. I did. I used to never watch MSNBC, and I only watched CNN. But let me tell you something. CNN is responsible for Glenn Beck.
You're joking. Is that where he started, was it?
Yes. Oh, I used to watch him. And even though in the evenings, when I think it was like 5 o'clock, I'd watch him. And I was always upset by things he said. I didn't agree with things he said, but he wasn't off the rails. Okay. But somehow when he left CNN, he just went off the fucking rails. And I guess because he went over to Fox. I never used to listen to MSNBC. Now I listen to them. I watch that. I also watch CNN. But see, here's the thing. I think that our entire journalistic, and I'm saying that with air quotes, because shit, we don't have any journalists anymore, it seems. Everybody's a fucking pundit.
Yeah.
And I don't give a shit about your opinion. See, here's the thing. Facts, opinions are not facts. Facts are a thing that can be proved. Opinions are your fucking opinion. Opinions are not facts. And I don't give a shit about your opinions. That's the fucking fact. I'm tired of news consisting of opinions. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just wanted to say.
But this is
okay,
the
so
problem.
Go ahead. Tell me. You don't trust MSNBC, but.
Okay, no, that's not quite true. It's not that I don't trust them. I actually enjoy a number of their shows. The problem that I have found with MSNBC is I've seen a number of their, what we would call editorial shows, which are the same as Fox News has, okay?
Yes.
Where they are literally telling you how to vote. They are saying Trump is a moron, you must vote for Biden. In the same way that Fox News is saying Biden's a moron, you must vote for Fox. Now, my attitude is that no, you should be reporting on what each guy does and let the individual make a decision. Yeah. Now, yes, Trump is dangerous. I get all of that. I do get that. But at the same time, Trump hasn't turned the United States into a fucking dictatorship yet. You know what I mean? It's still right. It's still technically a free nation, and as Americans,
how you think that?
Well, as Americans tell me every fucking day online, oh, how would you know? This is the one I always love too. How would you know? You're Australian. You don't know what it's like to live in a free country. So what is okay? This is the other thing too. What the fuck is it about? And this is no offense, please. I'm not trying to.
No, you can't offend me.
But what is it about certain? I'll say it like that. Certain Americans who believe the United States is the only nation in the world which is free. Like the rest of the world, every other country in the world apparently is a military dictatorship or communist, right? Except for the United States. The United States is a bastion, apparently, of freedom and liberty. Nowhere else in the world does this exist. Nowhere. Yeah. And it's like, really? Really? That's really what you think? No wonder you vote for fucking Trump. I mean, if you're going to buy that, you're going to fucking buy anything. No wonder you've drunk the Kool-Aid. I mean, because you don't believe anything. Anyway, sorry.
No. I'm just going to say, look, I want you to understand something about America. And this is something that not very recently, a little while ago, but I'm really trying to express to people now is, and here's the thing. Okay. One thing, I have a sister. I have two sisters, but one of them is a moron. The other one is amazing. No. Okay? No. I'm being really serious here.
Yeah, we're on it. We don't need to. No.
Oh, yeah. No. She knows I think she's a fucking moron. Okay? Here's the reason why. Yeah. And she is the mother of my niece, which makes me really upset. Okay? What she is, and I adore her, I love her, but she is a gullible rube. Okay? She is a woman who will believe what, and she tells me all the time, she tells me the most outrageous bullshit. And she says, when I say to her, this isn't real. And she goes, I've been doing research. There's studies. Okay, let me tell you something. She is a QAnon person. Okay, she believes that whole QAnon stuff. All right. Now, that people in power not only are abusing underage children, which we have seen that some of that is definitely true. Okay, the whole Jeffrey Epstein shit and all that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's bad enough. The people who are involved in that, and there's a lot of very high-ranking people in society, from Prince Andrew, and I'm going to say this now as a Democrat, to Bill Clinton. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Who are connected to Jeffrey Epstein. I am not denying that in any way. And am I denying that he had an island, a private island, where they would take these people? No. And these young women? No. Alan Dershowitz, a respected, and I say that again with air quotes, attorney in our country, who said, sure, I went to the island and I got massages by underage girls, but I kept my underwear on, like that's some sort of a fucking excuse. Okay, gross. Yeah. She believes not only these things, but also believes that they're doing these things called soul dinners, okay? And I don't know how deep you've gone into the whole QAnon thing, okay? But the soul dinners are literally about them eating and drinking, like, food and drinks that have blood and semen mixed into them, okay?
This is...
That they're doing some sort of, like, weird...
Yeah.
Shit. Okay, I don't even know how to say it. Like, I don't even know how to wrap my head around the concept of this. Okay, so here's the thing. The whole Jeffrey Epstein thing is bad enough. The reality of it, okay? The shit that's happened and the reality of it. Why do you need to make up other shit to make it seem worse than it already is? How could it fucking be worse than grooming and abusing underage girls for sex, okay? Like, literally nothing could really be worse than that, but somehow they have to pile on top of that. So she's one of these people.
I know why they do it. I'll be honest with you. I know why they do it.
Tell me. Please tell me.
Okay. And that is because, all right, Christians are going to fucking start sending me death threats now. But then again, you know, but this is why. If you read the Old Testament, or the Torah, okay, as it really should be called. Now, incest is... Okay, now, I want to put this into context. It's not what I believe. I'm saying what the Bible says.
I know this. Yes, right. Go ahead.
Incest is acceptable. There's no problem at all with that. I have incest with underage children. Of course, children are underage. Absolutely fine. No problems whatsoever. Marry your daughter and have a children. Of course. Have we not heard the story of fucking Sodom and Gomorrah? Of course. He married his fucking daughter. For Christ's sake. Okay. I mean, his wife died, so he married his daughter. I mean, it's all acceptable in the Torah or the Old Testament. And the other thing too, Islam also accepts the Old Testament as well. Remember that too. So all three religions of Abraham. Maybe I shouldn't really. Well,
you know how I feel about religion.
Okay, so I know. So we'll just call it the religions of Abraham. Is that maybe because basically that's Judaism, Christian, and Islam? All right, they're all the three religions of Abraham, right? Because all of them form their peak. They all form from the stories of Abraham. Now, I don't actually believe he was... Anyway, I'm not getting down that part. Now, anyway,
that doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Here's the problem. If you're taught that from life, here's the thing. If you hear about a sex trafficking fucking problem, businessmen who are organising sex, like pedophilia parties and things like that, here's the problem. Well, so did your heroes. So did the people that you praise to your saviour every day that existed to show you the path of enlightenment or whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know, right? Okay, so here's the problem. So the only way to make it bad is you've now got to bring the devil in. Right? The devil he's the bad guy. So now we're drinking blood, we're sacrificing, we're doing all this sort of shit because that's all the stuff that they associate with the demon side. Now, here's the problem. If you're a Jew, that's all bullshit. They don't believe in any of that crap. It's only Christians who believe this shit. Okay? Yep. Muslims and fucking Jews don't believe this shit. It's only Christians who believe this. Now, and early Christians didn't believe it. This stuff didn't happen until the church decided it needed to be a business because the Roman Empire fell apart. And the only way to survive was to become a fucking business. And if it wasn't for... Here's the other thing too. Who saved the fucking Catholic Church with the Holy Papal States? It's fucking Mussolini. Mussolini, the fascist dictator. Anyway.
I didn't know that, actually.
He was the one who signed the Papal States. Well, the Papal States have always existed, but he wrote them into Italian law that the Vatican is its own nation. And
that's what fucking kills me. What other organized religion has its own fucking country? What the fuck?
I know.
I'm not, and honestly, we've talked about this before, but my family, I come from a line of Anglican Catholics, okay? They are non-Roman Catholics. The Episcopalians here, okay, and in the U.S. they call them Episcopalians.
That's sorry.
The Church of England.
Yeah, Anglican to anyone who's not American. Anglican. Yeah.
Yeah, Anglican. It's non-Roman Catholic. Okay, so it's still Catholic, but it was what the King of England, I think Henry VIII, maybe. Yeah, I remember that as divorced, married, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. Okay, as his wives. Yeah. The first one, he wanted to divorce. Okay, which the Roman Catholic Church did not abide by. So he wanted to divorce one woman that he had married to marry another woman. So he split from the Roman Catholic Church. He created his own church, which was the Anglican Catholic Church, the Church of England, as they call it.
Which was based on Lutheran Protestantism. Although this must be pointed out, because every Anglican will tell you this, beat you over the head with this, Anglicans are not Protestants. Yes, I know they're not Protestants, but their religion was based upon...
You're not Roman Catholic, you're a fucking Protestant.
Well, according to Roman Catholics, Anglicans don't see it that way. The Church of England, the Queen of England would have a real problem if you called her a Protestant. She would have a real problem.
I don't give a fuck.
No, I'm just saying. But she is also the head of the Anglican Church. Realize she's the Pope for Anglicans, right? She is actually the Pope.
But here's the thing: I grew up in this family, okay, where on my dad's side, his father was an Episcopalian priest. His father was an Episcopalian priest. My great-grandfather, his father-in-law was, they called it, and he was in Wales, a non-denominational minister, okay, which was not what we have here in the U.S. It's non-denominational, which is this weird evangelical weird shit.
Right.
It was simply a separation of the Roman Catholic Church at the time. Church of England, not necessarily, but okay. So that goes way, way back. So I come from, on my dad's side, a long line of fucking religious grifters. Okay? And it took me a long, no, I don't, it took me a long time to actually accept that. Okay? It took me a long time to accept the fact that when I was a kid, going every summer to my grandparents' house, where my grandfather, to me, was like God, okay? Especially when he was in this place, a cathedral in Indiana, where I would go every summer. And it was this beautiful church, and the roof of it looked like the interior of an upside-down massive ship. And they said it was to be like Noah's Ark or whatever. I don't fucking know. They took me every summer to places, and when they moved down to Florida, he got another church and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Every summer I would go for a month. My parents were trying to get rid of me. So they would send me there for a month. As most parents do, yeah. And I would, yes.
As all parents try to. That's it. Yeah, I know, yeah.
Shit, I tried it. Mine wouldn't leave. I would go to Vacation Bible School, they called it, VBS, okay? And when I went every summer, my grandparents would, on the days that we weren't at church or doing these VBS things, they'd take me every year to like Disney and SeaWorld and all these places once we moved to Florida. When they were in Indiana, we went to places in Chicago, like theaters and museums and all these things. Okay. What I had to like realize when I got older is that everything that I had been able to do with my grandparents, because my parents were young when they had me, very young, 17 and 18 years old. That's what you get when you leave your kid at home alone while you go to church. You get kids married in high school, which was illegal, and you have a child 3 months out of being out of high school. But, you know, what I had to realize was that everything that I had done, that my grandparents had given me, and they gave me a lot, okay? They gave me a lot. They took me all these places I could have never dreamed of going with my own parents and blah, blah, blah. It all came from money that people tithed to the church. I didn't realize until I was older what a fucking grift that was, okay? The difference and that's, you know, period. And then I'm going to go back because I always digress. That's my whole catchphrase. We've discussed that, but I digress. The Roman Catholic Church is exactly the same as the Anglican Church. except for a few minor differences. One, priests can get married, which is how I exist. Okay?
Yeah.
They're not sworn to celibacy, which I think is a horrible, horrible fucking thing to do to people, and I think causes mental illness. And I think that that's the reason behind Catholic priests and Catholic churches having all of these incidents where they're abusing kids. Okay. Also, that happens in some Anglican churches. I haven't heard from it in the Episcopalian church. I haven't heard of people saying it's going on.
Oh, it happens.
But
There are cases.
It may. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying personally, I haven't heard of that. I haven't seen news stories about it or anything. What I have seen is a lot of evangelical people who are anti-abortion and all these like really strict things. I've seen people fall from grace, as they would call it, and I laugh when I say that. But the difference is, okay, so the priest can get married, and they don't pray to the Virgin Mary. There's no saints per se in the Episcopal Church. It's literally just Jesus and God, okay? But it's still, honestly, and I learned this when I gave a kid up for adoption years ago, which we've talked about. I went to their church with them when I was there to give him up because it was an open adoption. And they were Roman Catholic. And I went to the service with them, and like one, which I had to leave because I was feeling faint, and I'm not sure why that was, but
it was God punishing you. It was God punishing you.
I feel like it was me just going, what the fuck is happening right now? And he's doing great. He's got a family, and it's wonderful. But I realized as I'm standing in there listening to the rites that they're giving, the whole service was fucking identical to everything that I had learned in the Episcopal Church. And yeah, that was like a big realization for me, that moment. Because, I mean, honestly, how many Roman Catholics go into other churches, and how many Episcopalians go into a Roman Catholic church to actually know that? It was literally the same fucking rite that we were doing. And those particular, the Catholic churches, Anglican or Roman, are very old school in the sense that there's a lot of pageantry. There's a lot of stuff that's just ritualistic. Okay, that's kind of flooded over from early Christianity, and it's all the same kind of thing. And what was so funny is that when my son Noah was born, I wanted to have him baptized into the Episcopal Church, and not because I was an Episcopalian. Okay, this is the thing. Because my family was Episcopal in their upbringing, okay? And my grandfather was an Episcopal priest, and he had baptized every one of my cousin's children.
Yeah.
I wanted him to baptize my child too, even though I knew for sure that I wasn't going to raise him in the church. And it was pretty crazy because the person I married to was my stepmother, I'm sorry, not my stepmother, my mother-in-law was raised as what they call that, a Reformed Quaker, and in rural Virginia, where they literally had hellfire and brimstone sermons in their church. They would scream at you and try to frighten you into believing the way they did, okay? And then if you wanted to get baptized, they took you down to the river and dunked you in it, okay? Very, very old school, rural, Protestant, American religion. So she came for his baptism, and she's sitting next to my mother in the pew in the church when we go up to take Noah up to the baptismal font. Because in the Episcopal religion, just like in the Roman Catholic religion, you do not baptize yourself as an adult. There's no immersion baptism. You don't say, I believe in Jesus and therefore I want to be baptized, okay? You baptize your babies in a baptismal font when they're tiny babies, because did you know in those religions, in Catholicism in general, you are brought into the world with sin.
That's right.
You are born into the world with actual sin, which is fucking crazy to me. How is a baby born with sin? Racism is taught. All of these things are taught. So how is a child, an innocent being brought onto the planet, actually born with sin? That's gross.
Can I just?
Okay,
I'm gonna. I don't. Do I have a sound? No, I don't have a sound effect for this. I was just about to say. I was about to say money.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Let's make a deal.
Okay, so
let's make, as the Pet Shop Boy said.
basically-
I was about to say, as the Pet Shop Boy said, let's make lots of money. It's all about. It's about fucking the Catholic. Okay, the Catholic Church in its and it's was the whole idea is you could pay. The whole idea is you would go, and now it's different today. All right, I mean. The Catholic Church, well, you don't pay anymore. It is different. But the thing is that...
Yes, you do. You have to tithe 10% of your salary or you're going to hell.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, are you sure about that? I don't believe to be a practicing Roman Catholic you have to give 10% of your salary. That sounds more like the Scientologists. Sorry?
That's tithing, honey. That's basic.
Really?
That's
you have
basic
to do
in all Christianity in the U.S., okay?
Oh,
Roman Catholicism,
US, okay.
Anglican Catholicism, evangelicals, non-denominationals, organized religion means you give them minimum 10% of your salary. If you don't, you're probably going to hell.
Just the whole idea of why Anglicanism or the Church of England came about in the first place was because Henry was because of divorce, because Henry wanted a son. I mean, that's what it came down to, Henry VIII. And the thing was that there was a man before him, a little bit before his time, called Martin Luther in fucking Germany, or what is now Germany, who basically said, fuck you guys, paying for absolution because you're born into sin is not acceptable. Everyone is equal, and it should not be done that way. The poor should not
Isn't
be
that
paid.
fun how they distorted his message?
Oh, it's okay. We only had 100 years of fucking bloodshed in Europe fighting over Catholic versus fucking Protestant, who was right or who was wrong. In Ireland, that fight is still going on today. That fight is still going on. Anyway, but then Henry was able to say that basically, I'll create my own church. It'll be based on Protestantism, but it won't actually be Protestantism because I'll be the head of the church. Because the Protestant churches, they don't have a head. They're a communal fucking commune or something. They're all hippies. They all fucking dance around sort of saying, oh, the leaves are brown, and this, because they're all going to San Francisco. No, not quite. But it's, look, I don't know. I don't know. Do you know all of this came from the fact that we said that we were actually going to explain what the saint was about. And I think that was 38 minutes ago.
Are you trying to tell me something? I'm trying to tell you horrible things about my own family again. Why won't you let me?
Sorry.
This is
Sorry.
like my only therapy these days.
Sort of a friend of mine used to always say therapy via vodka.
Yeah, no shit. I wanted to tell you about my mother-in-law.
Sorry, no, go on. I'm only mucking around. Just please continue.
I know you are, but I don't want to. I want to go ahead and tell everybody how ridiculous this whole thing is.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law was sitting at the church when in the pew with my mother, my mother is not religious. Okay, my mother considers herself to be spiritual. She was raised, and this is the funniest thing about my upbringing. On one side, I was raised Anglican Catholic, okay, like completely. On the other side, my mother's family, they were non-religious spiritualists who believe in reincarnation and all of these things.
Right. The Buddhist, or just they believed in... Oh, we have a slight problem. Because it's going beep, 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 which means our lines drop off. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back. Oh, no, it's all right. We're back. Are we back?
What'd you do?
No. I diverted the satellite. I hopped on...
How dare you? Oh my
No,
God.
sorry, no. Stripe.
No. I was
Stripe.
just
Well, I was about to
gonna say.
Stripe just went nuts. It may have something to do with the fact that the entire city I'm living in currently is in lockdown and no one is allowed to leave their fucking house. May have a reason why the internet is getting a little bit overloaded. 5 million people cannot leave their fucking house.
Oh, yeah.
So
I searched
anyway,
for a couple of days for a webcam for somebody's computer. So, yeah, I get that.
Sorry, no, you dropped out. You dropped out for a few seconds. Sorry about that.
It's fine. So, my mother, who was raised, my grandmother took them, my mother's mother, took them to all kinds of different churches and different places so that they would be exposed to different things and allowed them to make their own decision. Buddhist temples, like all of these things, okay? So my mother is sitting in the pew next to my mother-in-law, who was raised, as I said, Reformed Quaker from like the backwoods of Virginia. And literally the name of their town was Christiansburg, if that tells you anything, okay?
Wow, yep.
Yeah. So beautiful woman, like I love her. Oh, Lord. Anyway. They're sitting there, and so when we finally did have my son baptized, we had my grandfather come from the district, the church district below us. It was Pinellas County, which is where I was born. But he didn't have a right to come up into Orange County where the church was. So he had to get special permission to come and baptize my son in the cathedral here in Orlando, which he did. But he was already so old that he literally wrote, and I have his book. I have the book of all the names and the people and the dates and all these things from the time he started as a priest, of every single person he married, did a funeral for, or baptized. Okay, the whole book. It's massive. Since like 1943. Okay, the name of every person that he had done these things for. My son was the last entry into his book because he was already so old when he baptized him. He came here and he listed him as a girl and listed him as his name being Nora instead of Noah.
Yeah.
It's like you don't even know who your own great grandson is, but okay.
Yeah.
But we're there. Okay, so the day that it happened in the cathedral, it was the day of the Epiphany service. I don't know if you know the Epiphany. It's a Roman Catholic and Anglican Catholic kind of thing. I actually, at this moment, because I've had two...
I couldn't tell you what it is.
You do not remember exactly what it is.
I was raised an atheist, so I don't really know what it is.
For you, honestly. Anyway, so the service for the Epiphany is bigger. It's more elaborate, which is already a thing, okay? The Episcopalians, just like the Roman Catholics, their services are very full of rituals. They got all the priests coming down, singing as everybody enters, and they've got the incense thing, and they're swinging it. And okay, so that's normal for the actual church. But on the Epiphany service, they do extra things, like this particular service. They had a dove, not a real one, but a fake dove, on a long stick with a string. And as they come down the aisle, they're like swinging it over the crowd, like the people in the pews, okay? And they're going down, and everybody's singing the entry song, and to me, it was normal. Not that I believe in that kind of thing, but it felt comfortable, okay? And we had already gone up to get Noah baptized, so we weren't there. And my mother-in-law leans over to my mother, who is sitting next to her, and she said, "Are we sure this is the church that we want to be in?" My mother looked at her and she said, "You are asking the wrong person." It was just this ridiculous show. And to me, all that mattered, honestly, was that my grandfather had baptized my kid. I don't give a shit about what the meaning of it was supposed to be. I just wanted him to be there because, honestly, when I got married, I married somebody who had been raised in a Baptist church from Tennessee, and I was again raised in this weird mixed kind of shit. I wanted my grandfather to marry us. I wanted him to officiate the wedding. But here's the thing. He wouldn't do it because we didn't get married in the Episcopal Church. He wanted us to get married in a physical church that was Episcopalian. Then he would have done it. But because I didn't feel comfortable with that, and the person I was marrying was not an Episcopalian, we decided to get married outside in the back of my mom's house near the lake. And he refused to actually officiate the service.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, it's when I say interesting, that's just polite. That's like
I know it was some bullshit,
I mean,
right?
well, that's like when you know a traditional English person and you give them the most amazing meal they've ever had in their life. No one has ever had a meal as good as this. And the English person says back, and you say to them, "How was that?" And they say, "Not bad." It's like,
Warren,
you know, it's
Warren,
like,
I'm going to say to you,
you know,
the
it's
person
like,
I'm married to is, we call him Mr. Meh.
Mr. Mac.
That is the whole...
It's kind of known around the world as English understatement, which a lot of people have embraced because
Yeah, no.
it's, you know, was like that old thing, wasn't it? An old statement. It's a little bit like, there is nothing in this world we know except that God must be an Englishman.
Oh, holy shit. So that means he's just meh.
I don't know. I don't know. It used to be a
also
joke.
super polite. I don't believe it.
Well, it used to be a joke that used to go around for so long. I think mainly because the British Empire was probably the biggest empire the world has ever known. Wasn't the longest running empire by any means, but it was the biggest empire the world has ever known. And I think there was this idea that they controlled a quarter of the fucking planet, this tiny little fucking island, you know, in the North Atlantic. And there was this idea that if this tiny island in the North Atlantic can control a quarter of the Earth's fucking population, God must be a fucking Englishman. You know, it's like, like the old thing,
colonialism on a
yes, like, you know, only mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun, and that's my fucking father. It's a bit different now because he's getting very old now, but it really was when I was younger. It would be like in Australia, it would be like 48 degrees Celsius outside, and he would sort of say, "Time to mow the lawn." It's 40 fucking 8 degrees Celsius. And
I have no idea what that means, Warren. I'm American.
Okay, well, I don't know if do the translation into Roman Catholic. I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
Hang on.
It might be hot then.
Hang on. We'll do. So for Americans, the rest of the world's in fucking Celsius, but we have to say this: Americans are 90% of our listeners.
Oh shit! 118.
So, there you go, 118 fucking degree. Okay, right. And my father is there.
High heat.
and my father is there. It's a little bit like, oh, let's mow the lawn. It's like, fuck, really? And it's truly mad dogs and Englishmen. You know, it really is.
Yeah. You know, I'm sitting here and I'm remembering that I was telling you guys about my QAnon sister, and now I have no idea why I brought her fucking up.
I guess. That's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's cocktails and conversation. So, you know, it is.
Yeah, as I say to people when they say to me, "Oh, I've listened to the show and it was great," and I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about because I don't remember shit." I'm just gonna say that, yeah, this is just like if you and I were on the couch together, hanging out, you know, drinking a bit, just chatting. And so chatting. I digress.
No, honestly, what this show is, if people actually, I think they would have worked out by now. It is really the two friends get together, they hit the record button, and they start talking. That's what this show is. It's nothing more than that. There's no planning or anything like that. Yeah, that's just what it is. The concept
is, why are you doing this? It's like, well, we were drinking and talking anyway.
Anyway, why not record it? That's exactly right. We're doing it anyway. Because if we go back to the earlier days of lockdown, if you remember, you and I shared some tweets, and I said to you, it's like, there is nothing to do. It's like we're all locked away. We can't do it. And now, actually, I'll have to say this too. A warning to America and the world. Have a look at fucking Melbourne, Australia. If you think you're over this, your summer hasn't ended yet. Your winter is yet to come. Winter is not that far away. Australia's in winter. Look what happened. It's called a second wave.
We're not in a second wave. We're in our first wave.
Well, we're in the second wave.
We just don't realize it.
Oh, okay.
Like people are saying, a second wave is coming. It's like, bitch, the first wave hasn't ended, okay? It's just going to get worse.
Well, Australia got hit by the second wave because Australia is, of course, in winter now.
Well, because you guys actually did the work to stop it.
Well, we did, and then we got hit a second time. We had literally eradicated fucking coronavirus. And here's the other thing too: for most of Australia, it's corona-free. It's just Melbourne. For fuck's sake, has gone nuts. And now we're living in a fucking police state, military-run city where we've got the army knocking on people's doors to check whether they're home or not. It's fines up to $20,000 for leaving the house. You need a permit to leave your house, a permit. There is a curfew. All businesses.
How do you get your groceries? You're allowed to go get groceries or go to the doctor, right? Yeah.
Okay. The only places you're allowed to go and the only businesses that are allowed to open are essential services. Okay. So, for instance, this might sound silly, but a security company can still run because if someone broke into your house, you still need a security. Okay. So there are some businesses that are allowed to run. All right.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, supermarkets, grocery stores, butchers, they're allowed to stay open. Chemists, which you call a pharmacist, is allowed to stay open. A servo, you would call it a fuel station. What do you call wherever your petrol, your
gas station?
Gas station.
Our petrol
Servo, right? They're allowed to stay open. That's it. Everything else is closed, shut, not allowed to open. There is a curfew, as I said.
Can you do? Are the restaurants running with takeout or no?
Yes and no. If you want to, they're literally serving coffee through the window. They slide the window open like a drive-through, hand the coffee out and shut. Takeaway meals in tubs, yes, absolutely, and Melburnians too. This city runs on fucking coffee. You're telling Melburnians not to have coffee for it's meant to be 9 weeks. So there is still... However, you can't move more than 5 kilometres from your house. If you move more than 5 kilometres from your house, it's meant to be arrested. You cannot... they'll ask to see your licence. And if you're more than 5 kilometres away... No.
I'm still 2 addresses behind where I live right now.
Right. Yes, so, this is... So, luckily, Australians are generally pretty good. They update their details. But yes,
Warren, I'm just not good at doing things. I'm just not. Things that are expected of me are not on my list.
So generally speaking, but here's the question: why is Australia corona-free and Melbourne infested with corona? What the fuck?
Is it because there's a large airport there?
Well,
where people come from other places?
No, Sydney has more air traffic than Melbourne. Not a lot more, but it does have more. But you have to remember, Sydney and Melbourne are, for all intensive purposes, the same size. They're both around about, I think, Melbourne's 5 million people. Sydney, I think, is 5.5. All right? It's like, they're very, very similar in size. However, here's the big difference between Melbourne and every other city. Melbourne, so let's list off, like if you say a country, like you would sort of say the theatre capital of America, you would immediately say New York, all right? The movie capital of America? No, the movie, like the theatre.
Oh, no,
right?
Los Angeles.
The movie, Los Angeles, right? Everybody has their own little thing, okay? Here's Australia. Let's list it off, okay? Theatre capital, Melbourne. Movie capital, the companies are in Melbourne. They don't film here, but they're here. Let's say food capital, Melbourne. Okay, arts capital, Melbourne. Music capital, Melbourne. Sports capital, Melbourne. It's all fucking Melbourne.
But opera capital, Sydney.
No, but no.
That's all I know.
Opera, Melbourne. They have the Opera House.
What?
But the opera capital is Melbourne. All the big operas are held in Melbourne, not in Sydney. Sydney, have you ever been? Oh, okay, you haven't.
No,
the Sydney
I have
Opera
not,
House.
Warren.
Every fucking thing in the Sydney Opera, it's tiny. It's like going back in time. Every area where they would hold a concert only seats about 200 people. It's tiny. It's absolutely fucking tiny. Where in Melbourne, you can hold an opera to fucking 5,000 people. It's a little bit different. Melbourne is huge. Like food. Like, for instance, as they say, the one thing about Melbourne, you cannot... So one of the jokes always used to be, what's the difference between Melbourne and Sydney? In Melbourne, you can walk to get a coffee. In Sydney, you have to drive.
Oh,
right?
So, okay.
Melbourne...
LA, like, Sydney is like LA.
So,
and then Melbourne is like
New York. Exactly right.
Yeah.
That's a really good analogy. And this is the problem that I think Melbourne, we're such a culturally also diverse culture. Melbourne has the largest amount of multiculturalism of the country. Like Melbourne is where every nation on earth interlives and works and all the rest of it. And I think all of it together, with unfortunately a whole heap of fucking millennials who just said, I don't give a fuck, it doesn't affect me. You throw all that in together and Melbourne just fucking fell apart. It just fell apart. And now we're paying for it. However, we don't get, we don't get through it. It's. I mean, the other thing too is that even when Melbourne has got to this stage, it's still better than America. And we're at this stage, but it's still better. I mean, we're getting if you averaged it out, 500 cases of corona a day, okay, per day.
Right. This
is not deaths, this is just cases. 99.99999% recover, okay? It's nothing by world standards. It's tiny. But by Australian standards, we've gone into panic mode. Like
oh, shit, yeah. I mean, I wish we had gone into panic mode when shit happened. But we're just too full of fake news bullshit and people who think their personal liberties are being, obstructed by wearing a fucking mask for 10 minutes in a fucking Walmart.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, if you don't wear a mask in Melbourne right now, $1,650 fine if you don't wear it. And are you ready for this? Okay, I love this.
Bring it.
The conspiracy theorist, nationalist, Trumpist type groups in Melbourne decided that they were not going to wear masks because they didn't need it because it was against their...
That's why you guys have it, yeah.
Okay, are you ready for this?
Sorry.
It was against their rights, even though every journalist pointed out, you live in Australia, mate. You don't have any rights. There's no such thing as a Bill of Rights in Australia. It doesn't exist, all right? So they decided they were going to hold a mass rally, like Black Lives Matter, where in Melbourne... what was it? Something like 10,000 people marched down the street. And that was in the middle of a lockdown. It was the middle of a lockdown. 10,000 people marched down the street or something like that, right? So they decided that they were going to have their own Black Lives Matter because they're so important, these conspiracy theorists. No one will force me to wear a mask. Coronavirus is all fake news. Donald Trump told me so, and I believe him, even though he's an American. And anyway, so they held their rally, and they were going to meet at the Shrine of Remembrance, which is a very holy site in Melbourne. It honours all the dead of all wars who have fallen for not just Australia, but of other nations as well. And it's where the eternal flame burns 24 hours a day, okay? And they decided they were going to meet at the eternal flame. Now, they, of course, were in breach of the fucking quarantine laws. Anyway, but so they turned up, and their 10,000-person rally. You know how many people they got at their rally?
How many?
20. Not 20,000. 20. 20. Okay, that was it.
Yeah, okay.
They all turned up. They turned up carrying the Australian battle flag. This is how fucking nuts they are.
flag.
Which is the Australian flag, but instead of having a blue background, it has a red background. Okay. So anyway, they turn up carrying all of that. The police turn up, and the police sort of say, "Please move on," of which about 5 of them did. The last 15 said, "No, we are going to stand here as our rights as fucking..." And they said, "All right, you're nicked, man." And they fined them. And I think most of them walked away with $5,000 worth of fines while they were forcefully removed by the police. So that was our anti-masker. That was our anti-masker demonstration. That's how big it was.
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm just going to say the only time I've been on your side of the world, I flew into Auckland. And I was there for a very brief time. And shit, I love New Zealand. And it is the most beautiful place I've ever seen.
It is. It's a beautiful country,
It is. And I love your side of the world, let me just say. And I told you, I'm looking at places in Hawaii because at this point, I had the thing in Ireland, okay? But my problem is I got my passport renewed so that I could go. But what I have found is that now in the U.S. we're not allowing new passports to be done, and I didn't get my son one. And now I could go to Ireland right now and quarantine myself for 2 weeks, which is the requirement. But I can't take my kid because I can't get a passport for him. This shit that's going on in our own country here, all this stuff, and the absolute fucking ridiculous denial from the people who live in our country, some of them, that even anything is happening, has resulted in them shutting down not only people coming into our country, and obviously we can't go many other places.
You're barred from most countries. Americans are one of the most barred people in the world at the moment.
Yeah, and I don't fucking blame them because we're led by a goddamn moron who everything he does is fucking transactional for himself. But somebody has said to me the other day, they're like, you could still go to Ireland, which is great because I have shit there. But I could maybe go there for 2 weeks and quarantine myself and get there. But I wasn't able to I didn't think about getting my kid a passport. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not leaving the country without him.
Well, of course you're not. No, I mean, of course not.
No, I mean, I don't care how old he is. Like at this point, I'm not leaving without him, and I can't do the thing without being able to
say something though? Is aren't American citizens currently barred from the EU, or are they?
Yes.
Is that, well, then you can't get into Ireland
not
anyway.
Ireland itself. No. Ireland is actually allowing Americans to come.
How do they do that? Because aren't they part of the EU? How do they do that?
I don't know what the whole thing is.
Okay.
I haven't gone through and read, but what I do know is that if I want to come, I can.
Well, there you go. No, that's good.
I have to quarantine myself.
Oh, of course.
For 2 to 3 weeks. I can't remember exactly, but
it's 2 weeks.
In the U.S. at this point, they've shut down all of our passports, so we can't actually leave the country if we don't have a passport already, even to the places that allows it. So because I didn't think ahead and say, hey, my kid should have one of these too right now, and he's never had one, and here's the application before all this shit happened, he can't go. And there is no fucking way that I'm going to leave this. Okay.
I get what you're saying. And the other thing too is I know what you're about to say and don't say it, because the thing is that your country, there might be a new hope on the horizon for your country. So
Star Wars reference, I like that. No.
A new hope, yeah, I know. Episode 4.
Sorry.
It's like November. When's the election? November 6th or November 4th?
November 3rd.
Sorry, because I always find it weird that you have a fixed election day. That's really weird for me.
Well, it's the first Tuesday in November, regardless.
Right. Okay. So it's a little bit. Yes, it's a new hope. It's episode 4.
It's episode 4.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. fucking
look,
know.
look,
Except
actually,
Darth Vader was smarter than Trump.
actually, this goes back to what we started talking about before, which was MSNBC. Remember, we were talking about that, about whether I trusted them or not. And and it was because I had seen them post some predictions of where the Electoral College may fall on that night. Okay. Now, one of them was that basically it was going to be the biggest slaughter of any president in American history. Like, literally, Texas would go Democrat. Florida would go Democrat. It was going to be an absolute slaughter. This was on MSNBC. However, they came back and they said...
I've never seen
all right, but they said, but the most likely, because they had so many states that were still kind of in play, because the thing is that if you get Missouri, for argument's sake, where Joe Biden is currently 1 point up on Donald Trump, that is not enough to
Which
call
is shocking, though.
Look, it's shocking in itself, but it's still not enough to call that state for Biden. Right, you just can't do that, right?
No.
Okay, so what they then said is, all right, let's now go back to reality. Let's now say Missouri is not going to go to Biden. Missouri will go to Trump. So let's do all of that. When they then got those numbers, it was actually pretty close to what Trump got in the last election, but in reverse. In other words, Trump would get the Clinton numbers and Biden would get the Trump numbers. So if that's the case, because Trump said it was the biggest electoral victory in American history, if you recall he said that at a press conference, that would then mean, according to Donald Trump, Biden's victory would be the biggest victory in American history. Now, of course, we all know that that's bullshit because he makes everything up. But I thought it was interesting. Personally, I'll just finish off by saying this and then I'll shut up. And that is that, I still reckon the whole thing's in flux. Yes, do I want Biden to win? Fuck yes. Even just from my country, Australia, because I am sick of the way Trump treats us as Australians.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I'm still not 100% convinced. I still reckon it's a 50-50 call. I really am not convinced yet.
Warren, here's the thing. I used to pay attention to the polls, okay? But what I have realized since the 2000, and I'm pouring more wine here, excuse me.
That's all right.
I'm not peeing in a glass, I swear.
Well, actually, what I was going to say is, jeepers creepers! I just caught my champagne conversation on my microphone stand, and it's all over my pants.
Oh no!
Hang on, just don't worry, it's not on the computer, and that's all that matters. Which we did do on one show, which nobody got to hear, because the show got destroyed, because the Saints spilled fucking, the Saints spilled shit.
I forgot what I was talking about now.
I think it was Barossa Valley, Shiraz, all over the fucking MacBook.
Oh, it's a Shiraz. Yummy.
And we actually lost the entire show. I think it was Shiraz. But it may not have been.
When you spilled it on your computer? Yeah.
I think it was Shiraz. Anyway, can we pause the show just for a moment? Because
yes, let's do.
I am covered in fucking sparkling wine. So if that is all right, just give us a quick second and we will
No, you must do the show with wet pants.
Well, they said not space pants. Look at my pants. Space pants. So I still think it's the best SNL skit ever done. Space pants. Fucking hilarious.
I'm sorry. We needed more cowbell as the best one ever.
There are some great ones.
I can't even hear that song from Blue Oyster Cult anymore without going, we need more cowbell. Sorry, it's stupid.
Do you know, apparently he still says that he can be in the theatre, like in fucking New York, and people will actually yell out, more cowbell!
Yeah.
When he's on stage, he reckons he's never lived it down. He said he should never have done that fucking SNL skit.
It was fucking brilliant. He helped actually kind of form my own son's like humor. So I'll tell you about that. But yes, take your break and dry your pants, man. I don't want to think about you having to take them off and do that show.
That's all right. Don't worry. I'm off with my. I'm off to get my space pants.
To hit all the buttons,
and we are back. Yes, we hit all the buttons. Sorry. We are back.
Put in my mouth while you're doing the thing.
That's right. We are back, and yes, I have a new set of tracky dacks. As I had to explain to Irish what tracky dacks are. A tracksuit. What do you call it? Sweatsuit.
Idea. What
do you call it? Sweatsuit. Sweat.
Yes.
Because the thing is,
sweatsuits.
As I said, it's like I live in sports coats and collared shirts and chinos or suits, or I mean that's the way I live. And polo
very
necks
fancy,
and stuff.
Warren.
And well, I am the saint. Anyway, so but I'm in 9 weeks of fucking lockdown. I'm living in a fucking tracksuit. Forgive me, I mean, I can't leave the house without being fined fucking $20,000. I'm not leaving the fucking house. So,
I wish we did that here. This would be so much earlier.
But anyway, but just before we came on it, we were talking about something, and we were talking about the idea of where you might like to live if your country kind of went down a path that you didn't want your country to go down, or just visiting other places. Where would you like to go? And but it came up with this argument or this discussion, I suppose. An argument is a discussion.
Yeah, it's not an argument.
And not an argument as in, it's an argument as in, I have an opinion.
I say that for people I'm married to. Let's just
and,
be honest.
Sorry, I'm going to cough now.
Pardon
me, sorry.
I made you choke.
Sorry about that. And that is that there is this fallacy. There is this fallacy, especially in the United States and also in Britain. Britain has the same fucking nonsense as well. And that is that Australia is the most dangerous country on earth, and that all of us literally take our life into our own hands when we leave the front door, because we might be attacked by God only knows what fucking animal, right? And it's like, and it's just, and we were just sort of saying, it's not true. It's so not true. No.
This is the thing that I'm trying to teach my kid, because he's obsessed with the concept of Australia, but also he's obsessed with the concept that everything in Australia wants to kill him. And I have talked to him like multiple times, because now I told you I'm looking at Hawaii, because it's like the most exotic place that we could possibly go at this point, because no one will let us into their country.
Right.
And except for maybe Turkey. And I know people who have been to Turkey.
That's worse than America right now. Yeah, and that's just that. You think Trump's bad? Try their president. Try their president.
I'm not trying to. Well, I'm not trying to down Turkey, but I know people with money from the U.S. No, okay, well,
it's still a shithole.
I've never been there, so I can't judge it in a way. No. But I know people that have a lot of like extra money. They've gone there to simply buy trash, like rugs and things. Like I don't even want to talk about that. But
I don't love the fear with Turkey. I have to.
There.
Okay. Yep.
One of the bathrooms they went into was, I guess, co-ed, in a sense, men and women both. And they were like, the toilets were open, there were no stalls, and there was literally a pipe that you would like squat over.
Oh, yeah. It's that part of the world, yeah.
I don't know where the fuck they were. Okay, yep. I don't know where the fuck they were, but that, like, the concept of that to me is very horrifying. So I want to go a lot of places. I've been some places. I want to go a lot more places. But
hang on, can I just interrupt for a sec, if that's all right? With Turkey, when I said Turkey's a shithole, that's not actually what I meant. I'm an Australian, so obviously as an as an Australian, that's not what I meant. Because as an Australian, I, of course, in my DNA, have a love affair with turkey because all Australians, of course, love turkey. That's just part of you. Yeah, because it's Gallipoli. That's fucking Gallipoli. That's where Australia fucking founded its nation, on the shores of fucking Turkey. So yeah, Turkey and Australia.
Now I want to know more.
Well, there is the great line by Ataturk, the father of modern Turkey, who of course wrote an open letter to the Australian people. This is after the First World War, to the Australian people, who said, "Do not worry about your sons. We will protect them for eternity."
Isn't that fun to say?
Right? I mean, Turkey has always been beautiful to Australia. Turkey renamed one of its beaches Anzac Cove. Actually renamed the beach officially for Australia. Because Australia views Anzac Cove, which is on the Dardanelles, just south of Istanbul, as holy ground. No, it was Istanbul.
Sorry.
Why was Constantinople? Was Constantinople? Was it? I don't know. Whatever the fuck.
Istanbul. They might be giants.
What is it?
My favorite band.
What is
I'm
it?
sorry, I couldn't help it.
It's nobody's business but the Turks. But why was it renamed? Because it went from the Ottoman Empire to the Republic of Turkey. That's why it was fucking renamed. But anyway, but anyway, so Australians and Turkey has this huge fucking thing. Like, the amount of Australian tourists that go to Turkey every year is in the fucking. It's probably in the millions. I mean, it is huge. It is huge.
Really?
It is. Well, it's a rite of passage that every young Australian, when they turn 18, travels to Anzac Cove in Turkey.
Did you do this? Did you do it?
I have to admit, I didn't do it. I did go overseas when I was young, and I didn't do it.
Well,
Not
you
every.
told
I mean,
me where you'd been. I'm actually more impressed that you'd been in Nepal? Was that it? Like, that was. Well, I was 21 or turning 21. I was 20. I was. I arrived. 21.
I arrived when I was 20, and I left when I was 21. So, so I had my birthday. Fucking halfway up Annapurna. So that was fun.
I want to know so much more about that.
Yeah, but no. I mean, I've been, Singapore, Malaysia, fucking Indonesia, Thailand.
Okay, I'm getting worked up now. Cut it out.
Hong Kong. Very, very young. When I was very, very young, there were other places, but I don't really count those now. So, but most. Anyway, Turkey is a rite of passage. All right, it is a rite of passage. You have to get this whole idea of Anzac. It is. It's hard to explain to non-Australians or New Zealanders who have the same. New Zealanders do the same thing. All right, they're the same. They're exactly the same. They go through the same rite of passage, and the every year. No, I'm not going to bore everybody with fucking Anzac Day. No one wants to hear about Anzac Day. We'd worry about that when it's Anzac Day.
Tell me the stuff. Tell me the stuff.
Well, okay. Well, all right. So Anzac Day was it all came about was the Second World War started in August 1914. So the First World War in August.
I'm American.
In August 1914. Okay. So anyway, the First World War or the Great War started in. Because a lot of people say it shouldn't be called the First World War. The First World War should be called the Second World War. Because the 7 Years' War should actually be the First World War. But that's another argument. That the 7 Years' War was actually... Well, the 7 Years' War was the first time the entire planet went to war. So that really should maybe be the First World War. But anyway... What we call the First World War.
You're a historian like that. I do. I love that shit. Okay, now go ahead and tell me more stuff.
Anyway,
okay.
So it started in August 1914 for most of the world. For Americans, it started in 1917. Yes, you were late to arrive. Okay.
We're always late to
arrive.
However,
however, in saying that, the First World War was such a pathetic, ridiculous war. You were kind of right to late to arrive, to be honest with you. The First World War should never have happened. But anyway, so Australia in 1915, so been at war for about 6 months, something like that. In April, it was decided that Turkey, which was an ally of Germany and the Austro-Hungarian Empire, could be knocked out of the war in a simple invasion at the Dardanelles, at the base of the Black Sea, with a drive up to then seize Constantinople or Istanbul. Okay, now the thing was,
I'm not trying not to sing a song.
Okay, yeah, I know.
Sorry.
So anyway, a collection of Australians, New Zealanders, British, Indians, and French landed in this invasion of Turkey in 1915. It was a fucking slaughter. Absolute slaughter. On the first day of the landings at what is now referred to as Anzac Cove, where the Australians came ashore, 14 Victoria Cross Australias were awarded in 24 hours. That, in American terms, is Medal of Honours. 14 in 24 hours, and for 10,000 men. 10,000 men hit the beach. 14 fucking Victoria Crosses were awarded in the first 24 hours. It was a bloodbath. Get this, it was even worse. They were landed by the British Navy on the wrong beach. Instead of being landed on a beach that they could actually walk up, they were landed on a beach that was a sheer cliff. They had to climb the sheer cliff. No mountain climbing equipment, nothing. They had to scramble up the cliffs while they were being shot at. It was a fucking slaughter. They stayed there for, I think it was 8 months. And it wrote Australian history. It is now this huge... There's a movie about it called Gallipoli. I don't know if anyone wants to go and look it up. They can probably find it. Stars Mel Gibson, actually, when Mel Gibson was cool, before he turned into an arsehole. It's part of Australian history. Gallipoli and Turkey is just... The two countries are now intertwined. However, in saying that, where I was trying to go down that is you don't want to move to Turkey today because if you think that Donald Trump is an asshole, you want to meet their current president. Their current president makes Donald Trump look like a fucking a progressive liberal.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, that was where I was trying to go. So, anyway, sorry, I don't even know why we went down the fucking Anzac thing. I'm sorry about that. I shouldn't have.
No, it's okay. And I'm going to say I got distracted for a second because I got a notification on my Facebook shit. And one of my friends who's like 24 years old, her mother has been in intensive care with COVID for months. And she just like literally said that they were going to turn off her life support system. She's been on a ventilator. And this young lady, I'm going to tell you, I am in awe of her and just fucking in general. One, she's studying to be a doctor for some of the most like ridiculously advanced kind of medicine. And she's so beautiful. And also she has the most wonderful singing voice and all these things. She's been through trying to finish school. She's just graduating. Like she literally graduated a week ago. And her mother has been in on a ventilator here in Orlando for like a long time, and they're going to turn off her life support tonight. And I am speechless and upset, and I'm just fucking pissed off. So I know that's not what you were talking about, but I just got this notification and I saw it, and I'm just like, oh,
okay.
I don't know what to think. It makes me upset because people like one of my brothers, and I just found out that both of my brothers and their stepfather also agree with this. And then we talked about my dumbass one sister. I have 4 siblings, and one of them is worth a shit. And luckily, honestly, she's the only one who's actually biologically related to me as a sister. The other one is really a cousin who was raised as a sister, and the boys are both stepbrothers of mine. And I'm just really thankful that my one biological actual sister is not a goddamn moron. And I'm sad now, and I'm mad. mad about the shit that's been going on in our state and our country, and I know that wasn't what we were talking about. So
I know it's not, but look, I mean, look, we talked about incompetent governments. Look at Lebanon. Look what fucking Beirut went through because the government is so corrupt and incompetent. It allowed fucking was it nitrate? What the fuck was it?
Ammonium nitrate. Ammonium nitrate.
Right.
Okay.
To be stored for what was it for 9 years left unattended in a warehouse? Is my understanding.
I think it was 4 years or something. I think it was 2016. And then happened, but it was a Russian ship with a Russian owner of the ship, and they were out of money, and he went to that port and dumped it off, and also abandoned his crew. It was on the ship. Never paid them.
Yep.
And it exploded after all this time in this warehouse in Beirut, and tons and tons and tons of people were killed, and like 1,000 people were injured. And
70 people died, I believe.
Minimum.
Yeah. Well,
like,
there's
I feel like
still many I know.
We won't know the actual death total until, one, they've had time to actually go through the rubble, and two, that whether or not they are actually going to tell us the truth. I don't know. And I don't know what governments do.
And well, the thing for me was that all was caused because a government did nothing about it. It was a public service, and the government, even the Lebanese themselves, the people themselves, are saying this is because our government is fucking corrupt. This is what happens when you have corrupt fucking governments. They don't do the right thing by the people. Yeah, Trumpists, I'm talking to you, okay? Now,
it's not even that though, Warren. I feel like, and it's this like old trope. Power corrupts.
Yep.
And absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yep.
And no matter where it is. And I feel like we are the embodiment of that right now. And I think probably over time, millions and millions of places have experienced this, the corruption of people with power.
I'll put it this way. Democracy is a pretty new idea. And even people who sort of say, the ancient Greeks had democracy. No, they didn't. No, they fucking didn't. They had what we base our idea on. If you went back to fucking ancient Athenian ideology, what do they say? Not the Greeks, but the beta Greeks. The idea of the Athenians, no, only men could vote, not women. Yeah. All right? They still had fucking slavery. No, they did not have fucking democracy. And also,
people suck.
It's like, yes, we base our democracy on some of their original ideas. Yes, but it doesn't mean they were fucking. It was a democratic society. Democracy didn't hit fucking the world until about 150 years ago. I mean, it is a really new idea. Democracy is not this old idea. It's really new. Really new. Dictatorships have been the norm for the vast majority of human society.
That came from the whole concept of the monarchy and that sort of thing. So, I mean, I get that. I mean, I know stories of ancient Greece where they voted and the citizens were given a black stone and a white stone, and they would drop them in.
Yep.
And it was based on how many black stones and how many white stones were in the mix. But I'm just, I don't know. I'm getting very upset now. I'm sorry.
Well, let's talk about dangerous animals. That's a bit more fun. Come on, that's
okay. Oh, yeah. Because I wanted to tell you my son and everything in Australia is going to kill him. Let's do that. Let's talk about something more pleasant, like ginormous spiders.
Yes. Let's talk about the nine out of the 9 of the 10's worst, most deadliest snakes. Okay, giant spiders, giant lizards, giant lizards, sharks, octopuses, fucking Christ knows what else. Let's talk about
how awful Australia is. Oh my God.
Because Australia wants to kill you. No, it doesn't. It's all such bullshit. It's.
I know. My son has seen those.
Canada
the
has
coconut crabs.
Yeah, fucking Canada has more dangerous animals on land than fucking Australia does. Well, as in a sense, does Australia have more snake spiders? Yeah. However, none of them want
Don't go
to
out
eat
there.
you. They don't eat you. Canada has a fucking bear. It has a mountain lion. They eat you. They fucking physically eat you.
Coyotes in the West Coast eat people's pets. Like,
Yes.
I don't know what to say.
Right. You know, I'm sorry, a spider doesn't eat you.
Have you ever seen the shit? And it's kind of recent, and not totally recent, but there's because there were other things before this, but this very most recent thing that they took out like 5,000 pythons from the Everglades here in Florida. Have you heard about that at all?
That's horrible. Why would they do that?
Well, because they're an invasive species. People had snakes that they wanted to keep as pets, and they released them, and then they got into the Everglades, which is basically the environmental bloodline of our entire state and perhaps country. Okay, I don't know for sure about the country thing. I'm just saying that, but for sure our state. Okay, the southern half of Florida, in in between the east and west coast, like Miami and areas down like Naples and Marco Island, the area in between that is the Everglades, and they are the way that our state, at least, filters all the water down, and it comes through, and it's literally the way our state stays healthy. People had pets, and they had gotten out, or they threw them out, or they released them, or whatever, but we ended up with pythons, Burmese pythons, in the Everglades. And they are an invasive species, so we have people that go every year to try to kill as many as they can and get them out.
I've changed my mind now. I agree with that. They must be removed. I'm sorry, but they
have
must.
To be if they're an invasive species.
Yeah, sorry. No, I thought they were indigenous pythons, and I thought, how fucking but if they're an invasive species, they must be.
Actually, until a few years ago, I didn't actually realize that they were invasive, and I was like, "What are you guys doing? What are you doing?"
Yeah.
But no, they literally are, and I don't know if you've seen it or not. There's been news stories that have come out with pictures where people have found a python, like massive fucking python, dead, with an alligator half ingested into its body. It was trying to eat an alligator, and the alligator, with its claws as it's being eaten, ripped open the insides of the python, and they're both dead. Okay, so we have these outrageous,
not a very smart animal then, clearly, but you know,
either of them, but they're just both going, hey, food. And the alligators are indigenous to the area. The alligators belong there. The alligators keep things balanced within our Everglades here. And seeing a python, it was probably like a 13 to 20 foot python. And if you look it up on Google, you can find it. Python eating alligator. Okay, you can find it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been crazy here. We have some shit going on like that. I don't know why I was talking about it, because now I've had too much wine. Because
we were talking about the fact that everyone carries on about Australia is the most dangerous place on the planet, right?
Yeah.
Can I just say to people, have you ever been to the fucking Thailand or Vietnamese jungle? Have you ever been to fucking Africa, Kenya? There's lions.
You're talking to Americans here.
There's fucking lions roaming. A lion, for fuck's sake. Okay, you're in a funnel with a spider and a lion, right? Seriously, who do you reckon you're going to want to deal with? I'll take the spider any day.
My son is terrified of your coconut crabs, like the coconut spiders, whatever the ones that eat coconut crabs, the spiders that eat those shit.
I don't even know what they are.
I can't even.
I'm Australian. I don't even know what they are.
I don't know what I'm talking about, Warren.
There's only three. Okay, there's only three dangerous spiders in Australia. That's it. There's three. There's the funnel web, which will kill you. There is Oh yeah. A
Funnel
bite,
webs,
a bite from that untreated will kill a healthy human. Absolutely.
How
A
long
re-
does it take to kill? Do you know?
a redback, which so first of all, funnel webs are in New South Wales. That's where Sydney is, right? They live there. In Melbourne, Victoria, there is a spider. It's very small. It's tiny, called a redback. You can tell because it's got a big red stripe on its back. It will kill a young child, kill maybe a 90-year-old woman. It won't kill a healthy, fit adult. Right,
Okay.
but it will make them fucking sick. But it would kill a very young child or an old, very old, sick person. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. We then have a whitetail, which when it bites creates an ulcer, which is a flesh-eating thing, and it will eat literally your limb away. It just eats the limb away. However,
Oh my God.
however, we have a thing called a free health service in Australia. All right. So you don't have to worry.
If your dog gets eaten by a spider, you can have medical care. Good for you.
No. What I mean is that if you're bitten by a whitetail, go to the doctor. They give you the anti-venom. You're home that night, right? I had a friend in their 20s who was bitten by a redback. He was cleaning out the garage, and he picked up some shit. And there was, well, not shit, you know what I mean, crap. And there was a redback, like a spider in there.
Shit.
And the spider bit him on the hand. Okay, all right. So anyway, he immediately saw it was a redback spider. He said started to feel within about half an hour really nauseous. He started throwing up, really bad. They called the ambulance. The ambulance came, took him to the hospital, gave him the anti-venom. He was home the next morning. Right? Okay, it's not. Okay, do you know the last time someone died from a spider in Australia?
No.
1950s.
That's crazy, actually.
All right,
Yeah. Okay.
1950s. All right. Do you know how many people die of snake bites every year in Australia?
4. I don't know. I'm just throwing a number out there.
I don't even think it's 1. I think it's literally like 1 every 4 years. And
wow. So 4. I was right. 4.
Okay. But the only reason they die is half the time they're in the middle of fucking nowhere. They're in the middle of the outback desert. And they're 5 days from the nearest hospital. That's why they die. No one.
That's what you get.
Right. And I hate to say this. No one dies in normal society. We don't have snakes slithering down the fucking street. We don't stop the cars to let the fucking python go across the road. It's like...
Oh, dude, we have to do that in Florida.
Although I do have to admit, a year ago, I was going to work at about fucking 6 in the morning, and I pulled out of my drive into the street, drove down the street, and straight across the road came 3 kangaroos actually bouncing down.
I hear they're delicious.
And I, they are. They're beautiful. Oh, they're lovely. They're lovely to eat. And I came. What they've done is they come up from this river near me, about 5 kilometres north of me, and they come up from the river, going literally through people's backyards, jumping over fences and all that. And they ended them up in the suburbs. And they lost. They were literally lost in the suburbs and couldn't find their way back to the bloody river. But the most amazing... No, can I just tell you a story?
Yeah, finish.
I think this is fascinating, right? They came across, and I saw them, they went up through this like cul-de-sac, street, right? And there was this little Joey. We call him a Joey. It's like what you call a baby kangaroo. Now, it was actually, I would call it a teenager, not a baby, because it was about 1 metre tall, right? So rather than being like 2, it wasn't 6 foot tall.
Americans,
it was
that's
a metre.
like 3 feet.
Yeah, so it's about so it's about 3 foot tall, all right? But you could see the other 2 kangaroos with it were about like metre 1.8 meters. What do you want to call that? 5 feet, right? Something like that. Yeah. Okay. And anyway, they bounced up, and this other one had started nosing around something, right? And then went off, and as they went, and you could see them, and I stopped because I was fascinated because they got separated, And then there was obviously this younger one because of its size. And then you see this other one was sitting at the top of the cul-de-sac, and it was literally sitting there looking back down. Like it wouldn't go back over the hill. And then this younger one then started to bounce back up the hill. And as soon as it saw it start to bounce up the hill, it turned its head and went over the hill. It was a little bit like, we're not going to leave you. Like there was a family, like there was this family thing. It was like this older one was actually looking out for where the younger one was. It was absolutely amazing to watch. It was beautiful.
Animals are not what humans think they are. We have gone a long time, trying to convince each other that animals have no feelings and thoughts and all these things, and we can just do whatever the fuck we want to them, and it doesn't matter. That's not true. Have you ever seen the video, and this is an old video, of Christian the lion? Have you ever seen it?
Is that the one that was kept in Britain and then it was released?
Well, yeah, he was purchased from a window at Harrods.
Yeah, it was in the 1960s. Yeah, I think I have actually. Yeah, I think I have. And this lion was brought up in captivity.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't seen it, please go on Google and look up Christian the lion. Back in the 60s, it was a huge deal to own exotic animals, especially big cats. And the department store Harrods in London would literally sell them out of their front window.
Yep, they sold an elephant. They sold someone an elephant?
Yeah.
This is no joke. Harrods sold an elephant. They actually did. Yeah.
Anyway. I mean, gross as fuck. Okay, yeah, so this thing shows the video, and it shows like lots of video from the 60s at the beginning of it, of these two men who saw this baby lion in a window at Harrods, and they purchased it. Not too much later, England banned owning big cats. It didn't stop people from already having them. This particular lion was purchased by two men, and they raised him, going to the parks and playing with him, and like everything about him he was just like a regular dog or a cat or whatever, and it was their pet. And he got too big for them to handle. So they were convinced to release him into the wild in Africa. So they did. And 10 years later, they went... Warren, I don't know what you're listening to, but I can hear it. You're looking it up, aren't you?
No, sorry.
Turn your volume down.
No, just wait. No,
so 10 years later, they went to where they had released him at this reserve. And they waited, and he came. An animal. You got to turn it down, Warren.
I'm listening. It's board free. It's board free. I'm playing board free. Oh, sorry.
Turn it down.
I know.
Anyway,
sorry.
So they released him after 10 years into this reserve, and not after 10 years. They released him when he got too big.
Yep.
Okay, so 10 years later, they went to the reserve, and they looked for him, and they waited, and he saw them. He came. He was already, like, he had made a family, okay? He had found a female, and they'd had babies, and there was a lot of shit going on. Who knows how many, like, waves of babies he'd have at that point. But they came, and he saw them, and there's this video of it where they're standing down, and he comes up, and they see him, and he sees them, and he stops. And he fucking recognizes them, you can tell. Because he comes immediately to them. It looks like initially he's going to hurt them. But he creeps up, he walks up, and he just immediately is obsessed with them. You can tell he knows for sure who these people are. Okay? He remembers them. And not only are they there for a couple of hours, but then Christian brings his family, this wild-born lion family, to these other men that are there. And he sees them, and the family comes, and they all just hang around together and pet each other and love each other. And it's this thing where you just don't even realize until you see this, that animals, cats, dogs, everything that we take for granted in our lives with these other species that love us, we think they're just animals, and they don't remember, they don't bond, they don't have it, but just like fucking people, they do.
No,
Christian remembered remembered these guys, and not only did he remember them, but his entire wild-born family trusted them because of him.
Now,
really, like, it literally, Warren, it just made me go.
Christian the Lion, a bit like Elsa the Lion, which I was joking around then by playing Matt Munro's Born Free. But because, of course, Born Free is the story of Elsa the Lion, which is a similar story, which raised in captivity and then released, who survived and then would actually raise a family. So their descendants still exist in Africa. Their DNA
but wild-born, right? Wild-born.
Well, yes. And Elsa is different, right? Okay, Elsa was not the same situation. But it was an amazing story, and they did make a movie about it. But the thing is that it does have to be said, because I've seen and read a lot from people who have sort of said that these stories are amazing. They do tell you a lot about animals, and the fact that we have to stop thinking that we are different. We're not fucking different. We're
not.
Right, we're not that different. However, for every case of an animal like Elsa or something like this, there is also the story of an animal which is a wild animal brought up in captivity that ends up killing its owner.
Yes.
We need to be a little bit cautious about this. It's not as simple, right? Okay, but there's still amazing. But there's still amazing stories. Absolutely amazing stories.
I think what it is that animals are just as complex as humans are.
Yeah.
And whatever situation that they're raised in creates a bond in a way. But just like with humans, sometimes when they're raised, they're not happy and they lash out.
Yes.
So I think, yes, it could absolutely happen. I think about the woman who raised a chimpanzee from the time it was very, very small. And this just, it popped up in the news recently because the woman who, so let me just say this. Okay, somebody raised a chimpanzee from a baby and thought it was like their child.
Yes.
And treated it like a child. And chimpanzees are fucking strong.
Yeah.
They are powerful animals. And if you think they're like a child, like a human child, you're a fucking moron. This woman had one, and one of her friends came over, and after a decade or more of this chimp being raised as a human baby and being treated like that, it literally attacked this woman and ripped her face off. Like, literally ripped her face off.
Yep.
And nearly killed her. And she was the first recipient of a partial face transplant in the U.S.
Right.
And she died like 2 days ago. Okay. She died that chimp ate her fucking face, ripped her eyelids off, and did all this shit. I mean, it was bad. And she never looked right after that. And I get how that would happen. Like, even if you had a transplant, like, how could your body ever actually fix itself with that?
Well,
and they ended up euthanizing the chimp, and I get that because it was fucking dangerous. But here's the thing. Don't take exotic animals into your home like they're your
That's
goddamn
right.
dog.
This is the you're 100% right. Okay, it's like chimpanzees are dangerous. Of course they're fucking dangerous. They're wild animals. Okay, a dog or a cat that you have has been domesticated over 10,000 years. All right?
Yes.
Yes. That's the reason why you can have it in the house with you. Can you have it's why people have snakes as pets. And it's like,
Let
no, it's
sleep
just
with their baby.
no, you can't. Like, you can't. A cat or a dog, a rabbit. No, a rabbit's not domesticated. It's just fucking. It lives in its own. It's just a different.
It's just delicious.
Okay, right.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
I don't
Okay.
eat rabbit. I've never eaten one. I've never tasted it. I'm just joking.
Rabbit braised
No.
in Shiraz with onion, with parsley and bacon. Anyway, sorry.
Really? Okay, when I come to Australia, you're gonna make that.
Rabbit.
For me.
Oh,
I
rabbit's
just
right.
now I have never had one.
You've never
My
had
mother
rabbit.
grew up in a rural home in the South, and her father would go out and hunt like the most random things. So my mother has tried squirrel and all these things that I would never fucking touch, and I just go, oh God, what's wrong with you?
Some of the things I was brought up on rabbit and eel, which is something which I remember a lot of my school friends. I said, rabbit and eel? Who the fuck is rabbit and eel? But we did, because my father and I, I was young, and I don't know if I should admit to this, but hey, it's the truth, so I'll just say it. We used to go rabbit hunting. We used to go off with the rifle in the days when you could do this in Australia. You can't do it anymore, but back when I was a kid. We used to take the 22 rifle and we'd go rabbit hunting, right? And we would come back with some rabbits and we'd cook them. Also, my next door neighbour was a refugee from Latvia, and he and his wife, and I grew up with their daughter, and we were very good friends. He was the same age as we grew up, and but anyway, he no, not like that, and not like that at all. And but anyway, but he had a smoker. He had a smoker in his back garden, and he used to go eel fishing. Okay, and he used to smoke his own eels, and he used to bring them round all the time for my mum. He just turned up on the doorstep with like fucking 7 eels, all smoked and everything. So we had
extra, then you share, right?
So we had eel meat all the time. We used to live on eel meat, and we had rabbit. We used to do it all the time because I think my father sort of thought the idea as a young boy you should go hunting. You know, so should do that. And
you're a man.
well, yeah, even though it was kind of stupid because he never did it when he was young. He was brought up in fucking Yorkshire. It's like the fathers were too busy down the road getting the call, lad. Get the call, lad. You know, it's like so there was nothing like that. Well, that's just not quite true. My father's father was actually a police officer. He was actually a sergeant in the Yorkshire police force in Middlesbrough. So he was actually a police officer, and yes, he was actually. It was actually kind of middle class in that sense, but the problem was they had so many fucking kids that was poor as fuck. You're gonna have 6 kids on one boy.
Was that the problem?
No. Well, it's the whole reason. No. I think we mentioned this, but the whole reason why my family went poor in the first place was because one of them, because they were Catholics, they were refugees from France during the French Revolution. They came to Britain. This is on my father's side of the family, not my mother's side. Okay, my mother's side is Swiss. All right, so but my father's side, they came from France. They went to Britain and as refugees. So we're the original refos. You know, original refugees. You know, that Donald Trump wants to fucking build a wall against. So anyway, so we all came and and anyway, one of them
giggling.
But one of them, I think it was the next generation or something like that. They're all devout Catholics, right? Because they supported the monarchy and everything. So anyway, one of them had the gall to marry a Protestant, and oh my fucking God, that everything then changed. And that's where my family... So my father's family then became Protestant rather than Catholic because they took on the mother's religion. And and they were excommunicated to... Sorry, I'm coughing. I'm sorry. But that drink...
cough.
The drink went down... Oh, the drink went down... I know. But I had one relative... she's now dead. She's no longer with us. But she actually sort of said those fuckers. But this is it. I won't name the family because I think that would not be right. But in Britain, there's this huge fucking manor house, like to the manor born, where the family still lives today. in this huge, 50-bedroom, fucking 200-room manor house, right? The family still lives, but we were excommunicated.
These things from our past,
right? And I still remember a certain member of the family said, "You fuckers." But she was Scottish. She just when she was young, she moved from.
Great man, you're fucking great.
She moved from England to Scotland. Well, it's a little bit like my whole entire family just sort of said, "Fuck England, let's get out of here as quickly as we can." This is in the 1950s, right? It was a bit like the war was over, and it was the late 50s or something. My father had just got out of the parachute regiment in the British Army. All the national service was done or whatever, and it was a little bit like, let's just fucking escape this dump. Just no offense to Britain, I love Britain. I've got a lot of British friends. I love Britain, but in the 1950s, the country really was a shithole. I mean, it really was.
Was it then? Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's not like today.
My family left Wales and also Devonshire, England at like 1911. So that's
a bit before. Yeah. So, but anyway, so my auntie who married one who married the ex-sailor, who'd been to America during the war. I think I've told you the story. He was in the battle for the Bismarck. He actually flew his aircraft over the fucking top of the Bismarck. It's amazing. Wow. He was shot down 3 times. He shot down 3 times, sunk 3 times. Went to America, had every fucking service medal the British Navy had to give, served in the Arctic convoys to Russia. All right, this guy was the fucking real biz. He joined at 16. 16 he joined the Navy in 1939. Anyway, did
he lie about his age to do that, or was he allowed to join at that age?
No. Well, he altered his birth certificate, and in 1939... Britain really wasn't asking any questions. I mean,
that might have been hard to do without Photoshop. Like, I feel like I.
All you used to do is there were 2 ways to do it. One was a razor blade. You used to because birth certificates were handwritten back then, right? Yeah. So what they used to do is they used to use razor blades, and they used to scrape over the top, and then they used to rub bleach on.
Oh, right? Okay.
And then they rewrote over the top.
Okay.
So all right. So he's dead now, but he never had an original. He never had an original birth certificate because he destroyed his birth certificate in order to join the Royal Navy. And this is the other thing. So when he joined, he was seeing, right. He was seeing my then 14-year-old auntie. Okay. They were boyfriend and girlfriend. He was 16, she was 14, or something like that, right? They were seeing each other. Well, they weren't seeing each other. This is 1939 in Britain. They were, what do you call it? Courting.
Look, I met mine, right? Okay? I met my, true loves at that age, so let's not, okay?
So anyway, so he decides that, well, we should get married, all right? Well, I'm broke as fuck. I'm poor as fuck. You're poor as fuck. What are we going to do? I will use the opportunity of being at war to make as much money as I humanly can. So he volunteered for the most dangerous fucking missions he could possibly get because he got danger money. Wow. So, for instance, he found out that air gunners who flew aeroplanes off aircraft carriers were paid 3 times as much as the guys on the ship. So he volunteered to be an air gunner. Right, so he flew around in these fucking wicker-built biplanes,
wow,
right, of these aircraft carriers. When I say shot down 3 times, he was shot down twice, and the second time they crashed on the aircraft carrier. They actually fucking crashed into the deck of the aircraft carrier. He did the Arctic convoys. I still remember he made the comments that what they used to do is they used to go to bed and they had a pool. Right, everyone would throw in so many pennies or whatever the fuck they use in Britain for money, right, and stuff, and would do it to see how many ships would be left in the convoy in the morning. They used to bet on it. How many of you will die overnight? That was the bet, right? They used to do.
I mean,
Here's the story. He said the ship would go into the water, like in the rough waves. The aircraft carrier would go into the water. The water would come over the bow of the ship and would land as ice.
Oh,
that's how cold it was, and they were flying in this weather in open cockpit biplanes, right? And
wow.
And they, sorry, can I just say one more thing? Sorry, is that all right? And then he said they used to. He said, sorry,
go ahead.
He said they used to go to bed and they used to pray for the worst weather ever. He said the worst weather meant no German aeroplanes, only submarines. They only had to deal. But if the weather was good, it meant they had to deal with submarines and aeroplanes. He went to Russia. He went to America. He would, after being sunk 3 times and shot down twice, he was finally then hit by enemy aircraft fire. They crash landed the aircraft on the aircraft carrier, which ripped his knees apart. He actually ripped his knees open when they landed. He didn't get discharged. It's not America. He stayed in the fucking Navy. It's like, well, you're not leaving the Navy, mate. No way. But what they did say is...
You're alive, right?
Well, he said, because Britain is so short of people, right? So they said, no, you can't leave the Navy, but what you can do is we're not going to put you on a ship anymore. You're not going to fly, right, anymore.
Yeah.
So what they did was they sent him to America in a ambassador role. Not actually to be an ambassador. He was by this time he was only like 18 years old or something. But he was part of the team that went. So he worked as, he used to polish people's shoes and all that sort of shit. But he went to America and he was stunned. He couldn't believe that a country like America existed. He'd come from poverty Yorkshire in Britain. Yeah. And suddenly he was in New York City and it was like, are you for real? This was like there was a whole new world. Anyway, when he came back after the war, he would marry my auntie, and the very first thing they did was they hopped on a ship and went to Canada because they couldn't get out of Britain fast enough.
My great-grandfather, we talked about him. His father was the one that was building the gravity engine in the basement.
Gravity engine, yeah.
Okay. He came from, my great-grandfather came from a big family. All boys, except for the firstborn, which was a girl. And he and 3 of his brothers left Wales. And I have to say, it wasn't actually Wales at that point. They were born in Wales. That's not the truth. I'm sorry. Most of his family was born in Wales, in Swansea. But he was actually born in Devonshire, England. It starts with an F. I can't remember the name of it right now.
Oh my God. You said it right.
Fremington.
No. Yeah, you said no. Can I just say something? You've mentioned Devonshire before, and every time before you always say it wrong. You say Devonshire. For the very first time, you said Devonshire, and you said it right.
You know why?
Maybe I'm bloody rubbing off on you. I don't know.
No. You know why?
It's
my involuntary phonetic accommodation.
Oh,
okay. We talked about this.
I was going to take credit for that. Sorry. Okay.
No, well, maybe, but yeah. Okay, so I
know
hear
you
it
copy accents.
when,
I know
okay,
you do.
People who don't know what that means.
Yep.
People who don't know what that means. Let me tell you something. I have an issue. I have an issue. They call it involuntary phonetic accommodation. Okay, it means that I pick up people's accents from wherever they are. Anybody I'm talking to, anybody I'm around, I pick it up and I mimic it. I don't realize I'm doing it. And so that's actually the issue here. It's Devonshire, right? And it's because I have this issue where I pick up people's accents. When I did work, I told you I worked for a short time as a waitress here in Orlando at a place on what they call International Drive. It was a restaurant where we got tons and tons of people from other countries because Orlando, where Disney is, we get lots and lots of international visitors. My whole problem is, and I don't even realize I'm doing it, is that I will pick up people's accents if I'm just listening to them. So when people hear us talking, and I hear myself doing it when I'm speaking with you, you'll say something and I'll go, yeah. As opposed to yeah. Okay. It's these minuscule dialect changes that I will mimic in people. And I don't even realize I'm doing it. The first time actually it came to my attention was when I was maybe a junior in high school. And my mother had a friend that was from Louisiana. And her daughter had been raised in Louisiana, which is another state here.
Yeah.
They have a very distinct dialect in Louisiana. It's a bit French. It's a bit Southern. It's a bit like, it's Creole. It's like a lot of different things. I spent the weekend with her. My mom was like, oh, here's this girl who's your age. Go hang out with them. I was like, okay. I came back after 2 days at their house speaking like I had lived in Louisiana for my entire life. I didn't even recognize it, but it's a real fucking issue because people think I'm mocking them. No, people think I'm mocking them, or people believe that I'm faking it. I literally don't even know it's happening. I don't know it's happening.
All I will say, Irish, is it could be a lot worse. What you're talking about is real. It's actually medically diagnosed. This is not fake. Right, this is not.
I know it's not fake.
It's fake news. It's Coltrane is fake news. No, it's not. Okay, it's real. It's a real. Because Coltrane, you've been very rude to me. Sorry. That was Saturday Night Live. Sorry. Donald Trump's impersonation.
Please don't.
He calls every black man Coltrane. But anyway, he
doesn't even know who Coltrane is, bitch. Please.
I know. But maybe but it can be worse because what you're talking about is real. It's absolutely diagnosed. But there's a worse form of it. Form of it. If you think that what you do is embarrassing or can be embarrassing, do you know there's a physical?
I feel like people think I'm faking it. I am not.
No. Do you know there's a physical form of it where you don't mimic the voice or start to take? You mimic the body actions.
Body actions.
No. What I'm trying to say. Let's say someone has a limp, right, and you meet them, and then they say, "Follow me." To meet, like let's say you go into an office and you're met by a receptionist and they say, "Oh, you're here to see Mrs. Stewart." Well, that's fine. She's down the hall, second to the left. Follow me. I'll take you there. Now, let's say they've got a limp. All right. As they're walking down, you will start to limp. Now, this is not bullshit. It's a real medical thing. You copy the action of the person you're with. So there are other people who get it really bad where if someone stutters, they start to stutter.
I might. I've never actually been around somebody who stuttered really,
yeah,
so I don't know. Maybe I would.
It's a real medical thing. It's not bullshit. What you're saying is totally legit. 100% legit.
Well, and I described it as spontaneous phonetic accommodation, which is what they call it. But I have to say it's also, I have to add the word involuntary. It's involuntary spontaneous phonetic accommodation. Like, I don't even realize I'm doing it. But what it has helped me with in the past, I will just be honest, it has helped me with getting acting work. Mm-hmm. I am super great at dialects. Like, I can listen to somebody for 2 or 3 seconds, 2 or 3 sentences, honestly, into their conversation, and I can pick up every single intricacy about the way they speak, the vowels, the consonants, everything. I'm just able to do it. And I can probably imitate the dialects of probably nearly different every different language on the planet.
That's pretty cool because I can do zip. I can do none.
Yeah, well, see, I've noticed that with some of the people in my family. We've talked about it. We've tried. They just can't do it, and I'm always upset. I'm like, why can't you just hear the difference in the dialect? Why can't you hear the difference in the vowel of what you're saying? And they just can't hear it. And it makes me mad. And I just have to think, okay, one, this is a problem for me personally because I'm always afraid people are going to think I'm copying them intentionally, and I'm not. But also I feel bad because there's people in my family that want to do these things and they just can't. Now, I will also say that my son, who is freaking brilliant in so many ways, he actually had an issue when he was very, very young with impacted wax in his ears, which we didn't know about for quite a while. The doctor hadn't told us. We couldn't figure out why he was trying to vocalize things that we couldn't understand that he absolutely understood. He was so pissed at us because we vocalized things very, very early. He would get so frustrated with us. There was a whole story we have about him laying on the floor while I was changing his diaper, and my husband and I were there, and we were listening to him talk as we're changing his diapers. And my husband had brought me flowers that day. There was a big, huge vase of flowers on top of the entertainment center in our house where the TV was and the different shit we held in there. And I was changing his diaper in the living room, and he was looking at the flowers, and I didn't recognize, and either did my husband, that he was talking about the flowers, and he kept saying this thing. It was this word we couldn't understand. It was like wabhas. We couldn't hear him, and we're pointing around the room going, window? Like, no, and we're pointing around like all these things, and he was just getting more and more frustrated with us. And we finally pointed up at the flowers. We said, flowers? And he's like, oh, yes. Like, he didn't say yes, but there was this whole thing in his body that we understood that was what he had been trying to tell us the whole time. And we just didn't hear it. We didn't get it. Okay. Because he literally couldn't verbalize the things he was thinking. He was way ahead of where we thought he was. Okay. Because we couldn't understand him. So at that moment, when we saw like literally it was this moment of, oh, thank fucking God. And the relief from him of us finally understanding what he was trying to say to us as we pointed around the room and said all these different things. And he was like, no, holy shit, what's wrong with you? I'm saying this and you're not getting it. We ended up at that point, because he was like 8 months old. We ended up teaching him baby sign language, because we realized that he was trying to express things that we couldn't literally understand what he was talking about, because he had impacted wax in his ear, we found out later. And when finally the one doctor we took him to that could tell us what the issue was, they literally pulled out this thing of wax in his ears. It was like 2 inches long.
But can I just say, this is no offense to the American Medical Association, but nobody noticed. I'm not saying you guys, you're not doctors, but nobody noticed. Like I mean, the first thing,
because he had our pediatrician, like the doctor that we chose for him as soon as he was born, was the head of pediatrics at the hospital where he was born. He was the fucking head of pediatrics, and they missed it. For like 2 years.
I have heard, yeah.
So, and he was actually a brilliant doctor, but they just fucking missed it. And he was so frustrated. Okay, so we taught him baby sign language so that he could speak to us. So he had an issue with speaking for a while. So I'm in a bookstore one day, and I'm just going to tell everybody now, and, blah, blah, blah to me, whatever you will. We were in a spiritualist bookstore because I have been raised in that environment. And
so are you saying
we were religious, in there. And
sorry, are you saying religious
no,
bookstore?
Not
or
religious, spiritualist. Okay, so it's
all right,
like
so
all
were there
the
fairies and
options.
stuff on the wall? And I mean, I'm trying to understand what spiritualist means.
Warren, I don't want to talk to you about Faye, but yes, okay. So there was
no,
like
I'm not making fun of it. I'm trying to understand. Is that's what you mean?
Yeah, it was
okay.
a spiritualist bookstore is everything except and including religion. Like
right. Okay. No, as I said, I'm not trying to make fun. I'm trying to understand.
There's Christianity. No. I get what you're saying. It's like everything. Okay, so the bookstore itself has books that other bookstores might not have. And so we were in there, and he was about 18 months old when I went in there with him. And I had went through the bookstore, like 3 different books. And I'm going to admit to you, my son was massive. As a child, he was so big. He was like in the 90th percentile. Like
keep talking.
He was like
I'm disappearing for 2 seconds. Keep talking. Keep talking. Everyone can listen. Don't worry. Keep talking. Keep talking.
You're disappearing.
Keep talking.
Okay.
Keep talking. I'm back.
My job here is to tell y'all that wasn't 90 seconds. Okay. Anyway,
sorry.
So we were here, and
I'd run out of champagne conversation. I needed a top up. Go on.
And so he and I were in the line to check out with our books. And he's about 18 months old, big boy, large, and like Amazon baby. And so I set him down on the floor in between my legs, like in between my feet, so that I could carry these books. And he was so big.
Yeah.
And he looks up at me, and he gives me the sign for bottle. He wanted a bottle. And I said, okay, like in sign language, I said, okay, in a minute. And the woman behind the cash register, who was this old woman, she was beautiful at this place. She had been there for years. She had started the place. Later, she passed away, and the whole place has changed now. And I don't even want to go in there anymore because it's gross. Yeah. She looked at me and she said, "Is he deaf?" And there were like 3 people in line in front of us, and they all turned around and looked at us. And I said, right. No, he's not deaf. He's just frustrated. And she stopped. And everybody was looking at us, and she goes, okay, wait. And she leaves the cash register, and she goes and she gets this book called Indigo Children. So any of you who like books or whatever, look up the book. It was called Indigo Children, or just look up the concept. And she brings me this book, and she said, here, you need this book. And I said, well, I've already chosen the books that I want, and I can't afford anything over this because, we were struggling at the time. But I was going to get these books that I wanted. And she said to me, no. She goes, you don't understand. She said, this is a gift. You need this book.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you now, Warren, this is not the first time we've been given gifts because of our kid. It was the weirdest shit. Like, I don't even know how to tell you. Sometimes we'd just be going through places and random people would just give him gifts that were not appropriate for a child of his age.
Are you sure your name's not Mary and you haven't given birth to the second coming of Christ?
Well, what's so funny is that one of the books I had chosen was this fictional book called, oh my God, what was it called? It was about Mary. It was Blessed Among Women. That's what it was called. Right. Okay. And I've looked for it since then. Okay. Because I can't find it. We loaned it to somebody, and whenever I loan a book to somebody, they never fucking give it back. And then I just, anyway, the book was called Blessed Among Women. And it was literally about Mary. but I'm not saying I'm like. Please don't think that I'm saying I'm her or anything. But
Well,
our kid
I'm not even convinced she was a real
was a
person.
kid. Like,
But I mean, even though I've heard a lot of people
I'm
say
not
that.
trying to say I'm
Well,
special.
do you know
Okay, I'm not.
there's supposedly meant to be the writings or the teachings of Mary, to which. Oh, anyway, it's a whole other subject. I'm destroying your conversation. Sorry.
Well, I know. Well, no. You and I have both discussed like alternatives, and there's more to talk about that. But anyway, she said that to me. She's like, "No, you need this book," and so it's a gift. And I was like, "Holy shit!" Okay, so I went home and I read this book, and it was literally about children who are more advanced than you would expect them to be. They understand things. They're able to, or they want to communicate earlier than you would think they are supposed to, based on, science. Noah was one of those kids.
Yeah.
And we call him NJ. And he's my only son here. I told you I gave up a kid earlier than that, and he's very much older than that. But Noah was a kid who most people thought maybe he was not up to par, but what we understood was that he was a kid who was different.
Yeah, but
he's different. He doesn't have autism.
Wrong with that? No. Can I just say something here? I want to take you off.
No, not at all.
And go ahead. I just want to say I am so sick of people who talk about who will say one thing. Oh, my child's walked in at 8 months. Well, big fucking deal. Someone else walked at 13 months, and they became the fucking prime minister.
Yeah.
Or it's like,
Babies, right?
It's like this whole idea: my child's special or my child is not special. There are no special or non-special children. They're all fucking children,
different.
And they're all loved, and they're all different. And you know what? If they were all the fucking same, it would be a really boring world. But you know what? Like the whole is, my daughter's a nurse in the army, and she served in East Timor, which is amazing. Don't get me wrong, but it's like shit.
No, it's amazing.
Right. No. But this whole idea of, or someone will come along and sort of say, my son is a police officer and he's done so much for society, and your son lives in a basement and never comes out. How pathetic is that?
It's the comparison.
But here's the thing: that son that lives in the basement, might be the next fucking Rembrandt, might be the next fucking Monet.
Thank you.
Right? This whole idea.
Yes.
It's like this idea of what's right or wrong. Fucking stop it! Everyone is their own person. They're their own person.
I feel like.
Sorry, this is my rant.
Is not my kid's problem. No,
it's my rant. Every child is fucking beautiful. I mean, yes, I get it if your child grows up to be a drug dealer or something. I get it's not really something you want to be proud of. But what I'm talking about is normal, just fucking everyday people, not the fucking weird, shit set. If you get where I'm trying to go with that.
Warren, I'm just going to... No, I
also understand... No, I was going to say, I also understand why people become drug dealers. Don't get me wrong, poverty and all this shit, I get it, okay? I get it. But, anyway, I'll shut up, sorry.
Issues, and no, you don't, that's not what I meant. I was just going to say, I am not ever going to judge people's drug issues. I understand that,
my fucking wife died because of drugs.
Dude,
I mean, my wife died because of heroin. So, I mean, let's be honest. No, she did not fucking die of heroin, but she died. But she took heroin when she was a fucking 20-year-old. Her fucking body never recovered.
Amanda?
Yeah. She was.
Okay.
I don't know if I've ever said this on air. I'm going to say it now, and I will say it once, and I'll never mention it again.
You've said a lot of things on air about her, so I think it's okay for you to clarify.
She was an ex-model who was not a very successful model, but she was a very attractive woman. But she wasn't the Cindy Crawford. But she wasn't the Cindy Crawford of the world. If we're trying to get where I'm going. But hey, we still do CD modeling. You want to make a movie? Right. So it all went down that path.
Yeah.
Spent at least 10 years living on coffee, heroin, and fucking cigarettes, and not much else.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you this, but when you hit
Society says that's what you have to do, right?
when you hit your late 30s, that's going to have a toll on your body. All right, whether you like it or not, it catches up with you.
Yeah.
Heroin is not a fucking good drug. This idea that you can be like, oh, I was a heroin addict for 7 years, but I'm clean now. Yes, you're clean now, but your body's never recovered. All right, the internal organs
never will.
And I'll tell you, it's like smoker. I'm an ex-smoker. I know that I will not live, even though I've given up, right? I know I will have a shorter life because of it. Okay, it has done damage to my body, right? I know that. And
yeah,
I think for me, when I sort of say, the drug dealer or whatever, it's because I am so anti-drug. And it's not because, I mean, when I say that, don't get me wrong, I believe marijuana should be legal.
I know.
I actually believe marijuana should be legal. However, hard drugs, no fucking way. Cocaine, heroin, no, it destroys lives.
Yeah.
It destroys people. Look, I've experienced it. I've lived through it. No, you do not want heroin in your fucking life. You know, you do not want heroin in your life. Now, in saying all of this, can I just say, I was not around when my ex was taking heroin. Please do not.
Yeah.
All right. However,
yeah, I know.
I had to live. I had to pick up the pieces. I had to live with the fucking consequences.
Yeah, I know.
Drugs
and
are
I'm
not,
sorry about that. Honestly,
no. Hey, look, hey, it's all good. Don't worry about that.
I understand you're going to say that, but also I'm just sorry you had to deal with it because you're right. People can't control what they're addicted to, and honestly, there's just nothing the rest of us can do about it. We have to love the people for who they are at that moment, and everything else doesn't matter.
But this is my point. If someone wants to paint a picture of a sunrise, or someone else wants to stand on a corner directing traffic, or someone else wants to drive a tank through Azerbaijan or whatever the fuck it is, all right, it's all equal. You are not better than one or the other. All right? But the whole point is the person who makes my coffee for 5 years every morning is an important part of my life. All right? That person is important.
Yeah.
And just because they didn't wear a uniform or salute a flag, and I'm an ex-soldier too, and I'm saying this, right? But just because they didn't do that does not mean that they're not an important person. I tell you what, my barista, well, I'm in fucking lockdown quarantine at the moment, so it doesn't quite count. But when it's over and I come out, my barista will be one of the most important people in my life. I'm a Melburnian. I live on coffee. I live and breathe coffee, right? So,
without a French press, what's wrong with you?
I know, Dora. My daughter has told me all about that. It's like, you're not a fucking Melburnian, Dad. Dad, fuck off. Where's the real coffee machine? You know, it's like,
I don't even like coffee, Warren. I don't even like
can't
coffee.
survive
I want
in
to
Melbourne.
like it. I just don't.
You can't. Okay, you are allowed in Melbourne if you don't like coffee, as long as you have tea to the same amount. If you do that, we'll accept you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
But it's unusual. It's very fucking unusual. All Melburnians live on coffee.
I know. I'm very unusual.
It's like, do you know that Melbourne is, I think it's viewed within the 3 top coffee cities in the world. The other two are in Europe. I believe it's Rome and Paris and Melbourne. Top coffee countries in the world.
I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about Paris. It makes me cry.
Paris.
Okay. I never cared about Paris. Okay, I never cared about France. And then one day,
really,
my mother
it's a beautiful
has
country.
A not-for-profit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Never been there. except to change planes. But in general, my mother owns a not-for-profit, and it's literally about reducing the usage of single-use plastics in the United States because we have tons. One of the handbags that she created, and her handbags are amazing. They're beautiful handbags, and they have a zipper compartment in the bottom where it carries reusable shopping bags that comes with it that matches the purse. Okay, so if you have what we call now a Paris tote, which is a red faux crocodile print on the outside of a tote. It's big. There's a zipper compartment in the bottom. The handbags, like the reusable bags that come in the middle and the bottom. I'm so fucking drunk.
Don't worry. It's all right. Don't worry.
No. Okay, so the purses come with these things because here's the thing that I learned while we were researching before even creating this company. The majority of the shoppers in the U.S., and I'm assuming across the world, are women. Okay? The reason 50% of the women in the U.S. said they didn't use reusable shopping bags instead of the single-use plastic bags that the stores give them, like automatically, was because they forgot to bring them into the store. Well, here's the thing. Women never forget to bring their purses into the store. Okay.
Yeah.
Most women do the shopping, right?
Really?
So our handbags.
Really?
Yeah. So her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really? I wouldn't have thought that was true. But anyway, okay.
Even if they have them. Well, here in the U.S.
Okay. All right.
Even if they have them, they forget to bring them. But no one ever forgets to bring their purse. Okay, as a woman, you don't forget to bring your purse into a fucking store. It's how you carry your shit, right? Our purses contain 3 matching to your purse for style reusable shopping bags. So whenever you go into a store, you always have them with you, as long as when you use them, you put them back in your fucking purse. It's a zipper compartment in the bottom,
okay.
So it doesn't take up any space within your purse, which you think you need for your makeup or your hairbrush or your whatever the shit it is that you carry in your purse. One of them was called the Paris, and it was a red crocodile bag. And I don't remember why I was talking about this because I'm really drunk now. I've had 3 liters of wine while we were talking.
It's probably time to wind it up anyway, but all I will say is that the idea of carrying recyclable bags in your handbag, so they're always there, because there have been several times when I have gone, well, back in the days when I could go to the supermarket, maybe one day in the future I'll be allowed to go again, but anyway, at the moment I'm living on home delivery. Fuck, I get excited. Do you know, I'm sitting on my desk doing work, right, during the week, and I'm typing away or whatever. And then and the doorbell goes, and it's like, oh, it's the postman. and it's like it's the food delivery. And I'm really excited, right? Race down.
I love to get shit delivered.
I'm stuck, and I know that if there's anyone in Europe, like in France or in fucking Italy or Spain, who's listening to this, you went through this in March, so please. You sort of saying, oh, for fuck's sake, Warren, just shut up. We've already gone through it. I know. But I, as a Melburnian, am only going through it now.
I would love to tell you, just what the fuck, Warren, shut up.
Right. But it's like...
I'm sorry. I just like to tell men that. I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with what you were saying.
But it's like, I am stunned at how excited I now get from the slightest human contact. Like just the slight, like even today.
That, yeah.
This is something. When we made our call to each other today, I mean, I don't talk to people. I live in an isolated bubble. It's like a bug out bunker, Like, and it's like,
Yeah, and I
wow,
felt
you know,
so bad last week. We had the hurricane coming, and I thought, oh shit, I have to spend all my night trying to get all the stuff off of the patio and trying to secure things just in case. And I thought, we can't do the podcast. No, Warren's
oh no
gonna
no
be
no no no
upset.
no 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 no! I was no. When you call it a hurricane, Australians call them cyclones. It's the same thing though. We just have different word for it. One, I'll teach you Australian one day. But
I'm still trying to move my family in that direction.
But it's not too bad. Free education, free health, second best livable city in the world. Not too bad a choice.
How awful.
And we got beat by fucking Vienna. Oh Jesus Christ! Seriously, Austria. Anyway, but it's number 2. That's not too bad. Second best livable city in the world. But as I said, Melbourne. It's the arts, sports, food, you name it, capital, of Australia. But anyway, what I was going to say is that right now, I know what Italians and friggin' French, like in Paris, were going through in March, because I am now going through what they went through, where we are sitting here waving to each other from our houses through the windows because we can't leave. It is the most bizarre fucking thing. The army walking down the street knocking on doors. It is fucking unbelievable.
What is that about? Like, literally, we just have people in our military, and they're not really in our military. They're just random shit that people have. They like to wear.
Oh no, these are real soldiers. No, these are actual
They're
proper.
not real soldiers.
Oh no,
it's just some shit that the government wants to go. Oh, we're gonna, tear gas you and throw you into a van and take you to a place, and we're not gonna charge you with anything.
Okay,
we're gonna release you after like 5 hours without telling you what your fucking charges are. Yeah.
Well, you live in a nationalist nation.
Trump's America.
Yeah. I live in a free democracy. Welcome to the free world, Irish. Hope you enjoy it. Anyway,
I told you I'm going to move to Hawaii. That's what I can do.
When I say we have soldiers going door to door knocking on the door, they are not going door to door with fucking rifles pointed and fucking. Okay, all right. They are walking from door to door unarmed. I will point this out. Yeah. Unarmed. Okay. Walking from door to door. They knock on the door and they say, "Good afternoon. We would like to know who is in the house. Because our records say that you have one person in quarantine. Can we see the person in quarantine?" And if you can't produce the person who's in quarantine, they say, "No worries. Here is a $5,000 fine payable in 30 days.
Oh, holy shit.
All right? The army's not walking around with fucking rifles. All right? This is Australia. We don't do that shit. Right? We don't do shit like that. Okay?
Warren, I'm getting really close to the microphone to tell you this. I'm getting really close to the microphone to tell you this, so you know it's very serious.
All right.
I don't have $5,000.
Okay, well then but then again, I know. Okay, tonight. Wait. Can I go really close to the microphone and say something now?
Yeah.
That's okay because you follow the law. Okay, everyone. Okay, if you follow the law, it's not a problem.
I don't.
This is but you do. Okay, you're not a Trumpist who goes, I'm going to fucking, I'm just going to fucking infect people with this fun.
People I went to high school with are the biggest fucking morons. Look, okay, Tennessee in our country, the state of Tennessee is a goddamn beautiful place. It's a goddamn beautiful place.
As a non-American,
so I'm going to tell you,
is Tennessee? Sorry, it's in America. It's like
is kind of in the middle. It's a bit like central, but slightly east.
Slightly east central. Yeah, I get it. So Mississippi
it's a
east.
State.
East of the Mississippi.
Yeah. Okay. So it's Yes.
Okay, just
Okay,
everyone
the
knows
edge
what
of
everyone
Tennessee is
knows.
on the east of the Mississippi.
Okay, just everyone in
Um,
the world who went to school
I
knows where the
went.
Mississippi is. So if it's Mississippi
Yeah.
east or
Okay.
west, so okay,
It's east. Okay, and the edge of the state is on the edge of the Mississippi. Okay, but where I lived at the time, was my high school years and my college years. So 10th grade, which I was probably about 14 when we moved there from Florida. Um,
the army's at the army's at the door.
ooh,
No, sorry, I'm just
the
joking.
army's at
Okay,
the door. I heard knocking. Go answer.
no, sorry, I was just fucking around. Sorry, keep going. Sorry.
Talk with you, asshole. What's wrong with you?
Sorry, I just wanted to lighten the mood. Sorry. No, sorry. I just want. Sorry.
You so much. Okay.
Sorry. I don't want to take things too seriously. That's all. It's okay. Yeah.
I don't even know what I was talking about.
I don't know.
Now
Sorry. I'm so sorry. It was a bad joke in a bad time. I'm sorry. It was a bad joke in a bad time. So I apologize. That was a bad joke at a bad time. Do you sometimes you just fucking
everybody that might listen to us. No, shh. No, you be quiet right now. Everybody that might listen to us, I'm telling you right now. Holy shit! What an asshole.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Period.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. All right, I'm going to shut up now. I'm going to shut up now and be quiet. Be quiet now.
Warren, I have no idea what I was trying to tell you because I'm super drunk. Okay? I just don't know what I was trying to
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, dear.
I'm frustrated and I'm slapping you in the face for that.
Don't worry. Do you realize 2.5 hours ago you actually said, tell everybody what the Saints about. We still haven't mentioned it. And it was 2.5 hours ago.
That's your fault. That's your fault.
Okay, all right. So that was payback. That was fucking... No, I'm just saying that was payback.
Okay, if I have promised to tell anybody anything and I didn't in this podcast, I'm just going to say to you right now, it's Warren's fault because he does that shit and I can't focus. So.
That's right. We'll blame it on Warren. It's a bit like, do you know what my father said to me? This is many, many years ago. Did I tell you this story?
Blame Warren.
Blame Warren. Can I tell you something? I still remember I was driving down the road with my father, and fucking driving in this fucking BMW fucking 5 Series or something. We're driving down, sitting here in absolute luxury, and my father just looks over to me and he goes, you know, because it was like my daughter was about to be born, right? And he goes, you know, son, from this point on, you will never be right in life again. I looked at him and go, what? And he goes, you will never be right in life again. And it's like, I just thought it was fucking hilarious, but I still remember it. It was fucking hilarious, but it's just brilliant. You will never be right in life again.
Warren, that's because you had 2 X chromosomes in your life, and that's just the end of it.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
I was thinking about today how I laughed about, okay, one, my actual biological sister, who is my half-sister, was born a lot of years after me. She was actually born randomly because we had no idea. She was on my wedding anniversary. She was 5 years old the year I got married, and I had no idea on the exact same fucking day. And there's just a lot of shit that goes on in life that you have no control over. And
yes,
I had no idea why I was telling you that because I'm really drunk now because I've had 3 liters of Pinot Grigio.
No, it's okay. We're going to
and not remember what the
Okay, we're actually gonna wind it up now anyway. Because okay, but here's the thing: it's okay. We've got lots of. But just wait, we've got lots of talking points for next week. Because you know what? I wrote down 12 talking points, and do you know how many we got through today? Two and 12 in 2.5 hours.
Warren, I'm just gonna say you didn't send me the talking points this week, but usually when you do. You usually send me talking points of things we're going to try to talk about, and then I laugh my ass.
Yeah, I know. Okay. So I'll be honest with you, I did actually forget this week. I'll be truthful with you. I just thought, you just go along with it. I forgot. I didn't even realise. Actually, I didn't even realise until we started talking. I sort of thought, well, it's too late now. I'll just pretend it didn't happen. You know, it's like, if I pretend it didn't happen, maybe you won't realise. I just forgot. I honestly just forgot. So, but you know, it doesn't make any difference anyway. We're still done over 2.5 hours. We got into 2 talking points. Oh, dearie me! This is what Cocktails and Conversations is. It's just, it's fun. It's fun. All I will say is, it's 2 great dear friends. Chatting about life like it was Saturday night. Well, actually, it fucking is Saturday night, but you know what I mean? Like it's Saturday night.
My Saturday night.
I don't know when you're listening, but you know, I'm talking to the audience. But it's Saturday night, and we're just chatting over alcohol, the way that normal people do, getting pissed, talking about life. That's what the show is. We're in lockdown. And we are fucking just treating this like the world's a party. Because, let's face it, we need a party right now. The world's so fucked. We need a party right now. You know?
Okay, I'm just going to tell people that I was looking on Skype, because this is how we connect with each other, but I was looking on the list of the times we contacted each other on Skype. Most of the shit that you and I have had, like, since the beginning of time has not appeared on here for some reason. You and I alone only shows this one, but the original one, when I was on your other show.
Oh, that's a long time ago, Irish. That's a long time ago.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, a long time ago with Velvet. So like
we don't speak about that anymore. Yeah, okay.
Velvet is Velvet is a beautiful concept of fabric.
No.
Anyway, no fabric, Warren.
No, beautiful
not
person.
People.
No,
anyway.
I said beautiful person, just not. Anyway, go on. Yeah.
Anyway, yes, I actually really liked her. Anyway.
No, so did fucking I. So did I. I loved her. I thought she was wonderful.
Crazy.
I fucking loved her to
be
death. I loved. Anyway, we're not going down that path. We're not going down that path.
I'm not trying to. I've never tried to be intimidating, but anyway, the earliest thing I have on my Skype with you and I talking is from 2016. It was literally New Year's Eve, 2016.
Oh my God, that was the New Year's Eve. We did the New Year's Eve show. So you did the New Year's Eve show. I couldn't.
Yeah, and I didn't even remember it.
Wow. No,
I knew. You and I have talked 4 times before we did our show. Okay.
But that's
4 times on your old show.
Yeah.
Starting in 2016. And we did 2017 and one in 2018 and another one in 2018. And then that was it. And we had I think we had 4 total before that. But, this is a whole thing. We're in 2020 and you and I have known each other a long time, and those Tim Tams you sent me are almost gone, and I just want to blame people in my household for not respecting my shit.
I cannot believe there's still a couple left. Seriously, I thought that's a couple of months worth of Tim Tams. Well, actually, a couple of months. That's about right, actually, I suppose. Yeah.
No, Okay, let me just say, you sent me a lot of Tim Tams. I'm going to tell people, oh my God, okay, Tim Tams from Australia, and I don't give a shit what those British people are telling you and trying to send you. That's not the stuff.
The British don't
I
know
don't know what
chocolate.
the fuck is going on in Britain, but we have in Orlando, we have an international food section in our grocery stores, and they have a lot of stuff, and Tim Tams are included. Now, after you had originally sent me Tim Tams from Australia.
Oh, that was a couple of years ago, wasn't it? I think. Was that
more than a couple?
Yeah, okay.
Couple. It was like 4 years.
Oh, wow, 4 years ago. Okay, right.
It was like maybe 3 to 4 years ago. Okay,
right,
you sent us stuff.
Yep.
Okay, including like lots of stuff from Australia. Yep. I don't want to even.
I sent you I'll tell people. I sent Irish an Australian survival pack. What it's designed for
is to...
Okay, it's designed... It was actually not designed for Irish. It was actually designed for Australians living overseas who desperately craved Australian food while living overseas. And I sent her one of them. So, anyway, yeah.
Okay, so it was filled with amazing things. Amazing things. And we ate all of them except for the
Vegemite.
I don't want to even talk about the Vegemite. Lauren, I don't even know what the fuck is going on with Australia.
I ate Vegemite every day. Every fucking day I eat Vegemite.
Okay. Do you eat it on toast or like plain bread or what? Like, tell me. Tell me.
There's lots of there's Vegemite pasta. I make Vegemite pasta every now and again.
What the fuck?
Vegemite.
I don't even know.
Vegemite spaghetti. Vegemite spaghetti. It's a real meal in Australia. Vegemite spaghetti. It's a real fucking meal. You go to restaurants. You can actually go to fucking cafes and order Vegemite spaghetti. It's a real fucking meal.
No,
we're our own country. Hey, hang on, sorry. We're our own country with our own fucking culture. We're allowed to cook what we want to cook.
I disagree.
It's.
I
disagree. I love that. I disagree. I love that. That's so fucking funny. I love that.
No, I disagree. That's
love that.
Salt. Okay, let me tell you something.
Yeah, salt. Yeah, what
Americans. I'm going to tell you right now. No, you be quiet because this is wrong. Right. Okay, let me tell you something.
Oh, shut up. I'll be the cuck. I'll shut up. All right. Sorry. All right. I'll shut up.
Oh,
be quiet.
Don't.
I'm being quiet. I'm being quiet.
I'm not telling you to be that. Cut it out. Anyway,
I'm joking.
I'm gonna tell people.
Fuck me, I'm joking. All right,
Shut up.
Oh, no. I love this. I love that. It's like I want you to be quiet so I can talk, or I'll be the cuck. No, that's disgusting. Don't do this. All right, I won't. All right, then you fucking shut up. You shut up. You shut up. All right, I'm not the cuck. That's so fucking. I love that. It's beautiful. Sorry, keep going on. It's just brilliant. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh my god, it's beautiful. Go on.
I don't even know what the fuck I was gonna say now. Okay, so Vegemite is gross. Okay, those of you in America who grew up like me in the 70s and maybe 80s, okay, being given Flintstone vitamins by your parents. Okay, Flintstone vitamins were the everyday like multivitamin that a parent would give their kids or whatever, make sure they had all the shit they needed in regards to like just life. Okay. And I'm just gonna say, those of you had.
Oh, shut up.
I'm drunk as fuck, Warren. Shut up. Anyway.
Shut up. Don't shut up. I'm hiding in the corner. I'm trying to blanket over my head and fucking hiding in the corner.
I like it when men listen to me. Anyway, those of you who were given Flintstone vitamins by your parents, think about this. And I might have mentioned this in a previous podcast. I don't know. Anyway, if you took a bottle of Flintstone vitamins and you opened it, okay, and I know that any of you who have had these opened it to get your little like Fred Flintstone vitamins out of it for the day, you smelled the scent that came out of the bottle. Vegemite is literally like you took that entire bottle of Flintstone vitamins, okay? I don't give a shit if you like Betty Rubble or Barney or Fred or whatever the fuck it was, okay?
Betty.
If you took all those vitamins, put it in what? Shut up. We all like Betty.
Sorry.
That's a whole
Sorry.
That's my whole 70 people.
Sorry, I had to do it. I'm sorry. Sorry, that's not my new fucking thing in life. Is just taking a piss. Sorry, yeah, go on. Yeah. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm so fucking sorry.
No, you're not. Don't fucking lie to me. Anyway,
I'm just watching the
to put it in a gun.
Sorry.
Warren.
No, I'm
already in trouble.
No, I just said we were trying to finish this 15 minutes ago, and we're still fucking going on. I'm sorry. It's all right. No, don't. It's all good.
Every world, which is America, needs to hear this.
Oh dear.
If you took an entire bottle of vitamins,
yep,
and soaked it in water and spread it on toast. That's what fucking Vegemite is.
It does not taste like that. It does not. Oh my god!
You don't know what that tastes like or smells like.
What do you mean? I don't know what it tastes like. I was born on the stuff. I was served it since I was
Vegemite,
1 year old.
Warren, I'm leaning really close to the microphone so you'll take me seriously.
We have to hurry up.
Know.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, no! Listen.
Yeah.
I want you to know that no matter what you say, if you took an entire bottle of Flintstone vitamins in America and soaked them in water for 2 days and spread them on toast, that's the exact same shit you're eating. Okay? I don't even know how to say to you how gross Vegemite is.
It's look,
and I love you.
I know. Look, I'll put it this way.
Appreciate Vegemite.
Hey, it's okay. I mean, Australia has Vegemite. You have Donald Trump and warmongery. It's all right. We're even. It's all right. We balance out. Right? Okay? So it's all right. It's like the Norwegians with their tinned fish when you open it, and it's like the tinned fish the Norwegians eat. It's like chlorine gas when they open it. It's like fucking horrible. Yeah. Okay, I get it. Don't worry.
And I'm so drunk.
It's all right. So we're gonna finish the show on Vegemite. All right, we're gonna finish the show on Vegemite. As in, is Vegemite shit or is Vegemite good? Hey, you can vote. Hop on Twitter. Why not vote? Tell us.
I'm gonna put something on Twitter. Okay.
Right. Is Vegemite good?
Is Vegemite now? Okay. I'm gonna put.
Well, no, not right now. Wait till you're sober. Don't do it now. Wait till you're sober. Is Vegemite good or is Vegemite bad? All right. So, and I'm sorry. Americans can't vote. It's not fair.
Okay, that's bullshit.
No,
okay,
it's not because they're all going to vote bad. They're all going to vote bad.
I'm an American. What's my opinion worth then? Well, you sent it to me, and I'm telling you that my family, who also tried it, said, "Oh my God, what the fuck is this?"
You're insulting my heritage of 20 years. It's not 20 years. Sorry, 50 years. Oh no, 60 years. Whenever my parents arrived to this country, it's like what is this like? It's like they said, I have a proud history in this country. When my parents arrived 20 years ago. No, sorry. I love that. It's like I love it when you walked into. I love it when you walked into a. It's like, I love when you walk into a shop in Australia and there's this Asian or black face, right? And you walk in and the first thing they say is, "G'day, mate. How you going?" I love it. It's so cool because it's like because we are all one fucking people in one fucking land. You know, I love it.
Warren,
it doesn't matter what country.
One world,
I love it.
One world, one people. We are Homo sapiens. Okay? I don't give a shit how much melanin you have in your skin or what continent you were fucking born in.
We
are the same.
Can I quote us
Our
a
only
line? Can I quote a line from Australia's
Where we
national
fucking-
song? Can I quote a line to you from Australia's national song? We are one.
Do it.
Okay, are you ready? Okay, here we go. We are one. But we are... No, let me finish. Okay, you ready? Okay, here we go. Right. We are one. But we are... Oh, for fuck's sake. Seriously. One time I tried to be serious in an hour and a half. I've been serious once in this show when I talked about fucking Anzac Cove. Other than that, I haven't been serious at all. Try to be serious for once. Okay, you ready? All right. Even though I have been laughing over you, so it's pretty fair. Anyway, all right, here we go. All right, here we go.